Starting June 1st, it will begin a new installment of the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The full 12 weeks will be concentrating on the beginning and fall of Babylon, history, the understanding of the religious aspect of Babylon, as well as what? The theme from Babylon, Rome to America. In the Academy, this is what you can look forward to. New lessons, the secret war of Edom against Israelites. But one thing we've never delved into was bringing forth the history, showing all the contentions and war Edom has waged against Israelites even until our present time. The desolation of abomination, how to calculate time according to God, and I can't wait for this lesson, Armageddon. The final war in heaven. If you've never been in the Academy, you want to be in this one. June 1st, we're in open enrollment right now. Go to historytimes.org to enroll. Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. Shalom, shalom. Come on in, brothers and sisters. Blessings.
The east is where we're from. The 12 tribes of Israel.
Blessings, brothers and sisters. Blessings.
In 721 BC, the Assyrian king, he took us down, we fell. With the great escape, we went through the Euphrates. The Lord held the water still. To a land where no mankind dwelt, we went. The 12 tribes of Israel. That's who we be. Manasseh, the Cubans, Ephraim from Puerto Rico, and Valley from the Isles of Hawaii.
Blessings, blessings.
The Lord is calling back Israel. Babylon from Panama, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans, the highest gathering Israel.
That's right, the Most High's Gather in Israel. I'm Elder Ricochet of the Gathering of Christ Church here with our weekly broadcast. And yes, I thank the Most High Ahaya in the name of Yeshua for allowing us to come before you this evening with a special broadcast titled Hollywood Babylon. Of course, we will have a special guest, an actor by the name of Dennis L.A. White, who have premiered in over 90 different movies. And we're going to hear his input, his insight, and get some real inside information on what's going on in Hollywood, right? The good, the bad, and the ugly. I'm going to ask a few questions. And of course, he has a premiere tonight, so he can only be here an hour. But I'm going to ask all I can ask within that hour. And then we're going to move it over this Friday. I'll try to get him on Patreon. And then he have a special premiere side by side with us here in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. Dennis L.A. White, I'm waiting for him to come in through Zoom. In the meantime, I'm going to, that's right, bring what I have to bring. Now, the reason why we like to talk about, I want to go into Hollywood because most people don't understand the religious aspect of Hollywood. Okay, I'm going to ask him a few questions, and he's going to answer what he can, still being in the industry here. But hey, We're not going to pull any punches and in hopes that our people can understand what we're up against spiritually in this what? This serious spiritual battle between good and evil. Shalom to my brothers and sisters throughout the four corners of the earth. If you don't know, I'm Elder Ricard of the Gathering of Christ Church, and I welcome you to this broadcast. I would like to say thank you all for all those who support the church. This coming Sunday, we're going into the secret war of Edom against Israelites. That will be the lesson. It's a continuation of who is Edom, but we're going to show you all the wars that's going to eventually lead to the desolation, the final cataclysm that the Dead Sea Scrolls prophesy, where it says the final war will be in the desert between Esau, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi. So this coming Sunday, we're going into the secret war, the secret wars of Esau, or the Edomites, against the children of Israel. And we're going to also go into the Khazarians, the last conversion that we see currently in what? Turkey and the Ukraine. They're the serpent people, the children of Edom, hiding under jewelry. That's right, this Sunday in the academy. And of course, we're going to have a brand new academy in a few weeks. For those who've missed this one, don't worry about it. We have a brand new academy coming. Okay, brand new academy coming. One second. The next academy coming, it's going to be more about on spiritual warfare. Okay, mysteries of the spiritual realm will be the theme of the next academy. And hey, we wrestle not with flesh and blood. And folks, the earth is suspended in heaven. Okay? The earth, let me tell you again, is suspended in heaven. We're in the midst of that's right, the spiritual realm. All right? And we're going to go into how to connect back with the Father like we once did, and I'm going to go in today, what Satan is using to disconnect us from the heavens. In the next academy, the origin of the spiritual realm, tracing the serpent seed, how Lucifer became the chief Satan, Christ and the keys to spiritual warfare. There's laws above the carnal laws of physics. Okay? There's celestial laws and there's worldly laws. And we restrict our own power, brothers and sisters, by what? By believing that we are all the time subjected to the laws of physics. They don't want you to know your power beyond this carnal world. Well, we'll talk about that, because eventually when it all goes down, we're going to need greater gifts than what we are restricted to according to this world. So I'm going to be talking about that. How did the disciples get around? How did Christ get around? Okay. At one point, the Most High moved the prophet by an angel through a gate to feed Daniel in the lion's den. Did you know that? Well, we're going to talk about that. Christ and the keys to spiritual warfare, the craft, the priesthood of Satan versus the priest of God. We're going to break down the brotherhoods of the Gentiles, the yellow, red, and white brotherhood. That's right, that control Islam, Christianity, Buddhism. That's right. We're going to show you the truth concerning the brotherhood of Satan, his fraternities, against the true priesthood that Christ established on earth. That and more for the next academy, strictly breaking down spiritual warfare. You don't want to miss that next academy. go to historytimes.org to enroll. Now, before I go into the broadcast, I would like to give my deepest condolences to my brother, Bishop Gocc in New York. In our last calendar that we put out there, you know, it was such a blessing to see his sister baptized into the truth. And unfortunately, her battle with cancer, right now, she's in the spiritual realm. She just passed a few days ago, a part of this church, and she has, she left some children here, and we're going to make sure we look out for her children. And we're always there until we see her again. And of course, I'm a little melancholy based on the fact that a sister in Christ, the sister of a pillar, Bishop Gocc, brother, you got my deepest condolences. Norian Ocasio Rivera. She's passed over, a beautiful daughter of Zion, Ephraim, and her going away will be soon. And you got my deepest condolences, brother. Okay, and of course, we're going to see her again, and she fought. She was always a pillar, working behind the scenes in Puerto Rico to make sure the work continues. And guess what? Right now, for this side of her work, it's done. She's earned her keys into heaven, and we will soon see her upon the return of our Lord and Savior. We must work. We must work to see her again. May the Most High accept her in the bosom of Abraham. And guess what? We will fight to see our sister again when Zion comes to earth. Rest in peace. Rest in peace. Just want to take just a couple of seconds of silence. And may the Most High have a rest in peace. All right, blessings, brothers and sisters. This is the Gathering of Christ Church, and I would like to talk about this because the war against humanity is ramping up, and Hollywood has played a what? A serious role. A serious role in the spiritual warfare against the children of righteousness. And it's time that we become aware of that particular cesspool, Hollywood Babylon, and understand its impact in this earth. Now, have it always been negative impact? No. Okay. When it comes to culture, when it comes to the gifts the Most High have given us, through Hollywood tools, the world was able to experience even the good the Most High would have in us. But guess what? There's a fundamental foundation of darkness that's a part of Hollywood, and we're going to talk about that today. Okay? As soon as Dennis, let me know. I'm waiting for him now. We have Dennis L.A. White coming on, a Hollywood actor. And we're going to talk about the ins and outs of Hollywood for 1 hour. And then after that, we'll open it up for questions. There's a serious craft connected to Hollywood. Okay? Now, was it all negative? No. Is it all negative? No. Okay? But again, there's a dark part of Hollywood that have always existed, and now it has come to the forefront. It's coming after everyone. The darkness that was always behind Babylon, Hollywood. Hollywood, Babylon. Right? Now, before I go there, speaking of Hollywood, Babylon, of course, I'm going to talk with my brother Dennis L.A. White, and I would be amiss if I didn't talk about the death of this brother Malcolm Jamal Warner. It was a different time. If you were getting raised up in my generation, which I believe was one of the last generations that held to the old traditions and values that actually carried us through the toughest times. And it was to a degree, and this is when we were kind of naive to Hollywood. Right? Hollywood was for us Little House on the Prairie, the Waltons, right? And above all, the tippity top of it all, the Cosby Show. To some degree, when I heard that Malcolm Jamal Warner, most of us knew him as Theo. And the generation I came up was so tight-knit that the people on television, being that there were only a few channels back then, the people back then on TV was like family members to us. We felt their pain, okay? We felt what they were going through as if it was a family member. There's only a few channels. And there was only a few channels that actually promoted television shows of people who looked like us. So therefore, it was more personal, for us when it came to people like Theo, right? When it came to Good Times and we found out that the father on Good Times died, right? We all sitting there shocked and it says to be continued, as if we lost family members. That's how close our community was. And that's how much impact Hollywood, to some degree, positively had on our culture. When we seen Theo, when we seen Cosby, when we seen Claire Huxtable, it was showing the part of our community that always existed, yet rarely promoted amongst Babylon Hollywood. Clean-cut people. Highly educated, spiritual, family-oriented. And it was what? It was a broadcast during this time that led us into more so excellence than degradation. So I pray that the brother Malcolm Jamal Warner, I pray that his journey is safe in the bosom of Abraham, if it be the Most High's will. And I pray for him and his family, because guess what? He was the role model that led many young men into being young boys into becoming responsible men. Okay? So if we're going to talk about Hollywood, I'll be amiss if I didn't talk about the impact this brother had on a generation of people, his people, God's people. Okay, in terms of positive imagery, I would be amiss. Now, while I'm waiting on Dennis to come in, let me check Zoom. Let me check here. And thank you all for your presence. I know I'm early today, but I wanted to make sure we accommodate our guests. I wanted to make sure we can accommodate our guests, so I came on early, right? All right, so while I'm waiting real quick, let me do this real quick. And do us a favor, folks. Hit the like button if you will. All right. Hit the like button. While I'm waiting here, I thought I would talk about something real quick, right? In Ephesians, the 6th chapter, it states that we wrestle not with flesh and blood. Now, why am I talking about this? We are in a serious war. Satan is playing for keeps, knowing that he has a short time. And with this AI thing, with this chat GPT thing, I'm going to tell you right now, we must be careful. We must be careful concerning on how much we lean on AI and chat GPT. Right? Why am I saying this? Last week, I went into the darkness that started from the beginning when you seen that Sabbath. And that darkness was concealed since the time of the beginning, and it became the underworld, Hades. Well, for those who don't know, that darkness or chaos has been released on earth. There's nothing new under the sun. The same spirits that led to the Most High flooding the earth has been released. The majority of people in the earth today is ignorant, are very ignorant, brothers and sisters, to the spirits, the sophistication of these spirits, these ancient spirits. We're ignorant, a lot of people, ignorant to how they are communicating with this generation like they communicated with the people of the past. Listen to me clearly. The computer, the phone, can be more effective in bringing people into the occult than modern day or ancient day Ouija boards. Listen to what I'm saying, folks. When it comes to chat GPT, and I'm going to bring something for you. I'm going to show you. When it comes to AI, we must be very careful. I'm speaking of those who believe in God and Christ and understand that there's only good and evil. We have to be very careful on how we use these specific tools. Never substitute your brain for alternative technology. Now, in certain things, when it comes to efficiency, I understand. Okay, just say if you don't want to, you got a quick contract that you need to get notarized, and you want AI to quickly draft that up for you. The same as if you would have typed it. Okay. That's a convenience that you don't have to worry about dealing with the expense of a lawyer. Right? Just say if you wanted to draft something, plans or something like that, being a builder or a carpenter and needed to throw something in there where now, Dennis White is there. And I'm going to talk about this after we done the interview. Right? Hold on 1 second. 1 second, Dennis. Blessings. You can unmute Dennis, if you will. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Blessings, brother. Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear. All right. Just unmute real quick because right now it seems as if you're muted. You was good.
No, I'm not muted.
Yeah, you was good a second ago. It seemed as if your signal was a little broken up. You're a little delayed there.
Okay, let me turn this.
No, it seemed as if your signal was a little weak. Hold on. Our guest is here, so. One second.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you loud and clear now.
Okay, perfect.
Okay. Everything is good there. How you doing, my brother?
I'm good, man. You know, want to make sure we was straight. Let me turn this overhead light off.
Okay, great. I know you got a premiere, so we're going to jump right in with it. But before you do that, I just wanted to say a few things to the brothers and sisters, okay?
Sure.
All right. You can put it on mute if you don't mind, Dennis. Yeah. Your signal is all white. Perfect. Yeah. Real quick, brothers and sisters, so I can bring in the guests. I don't want to hold them up too long. We must be very careful dealing with AI and Chat GPS, especially Chat GPS. Right? What did I show you all a few years ago? Let me show you. We don't understand the origin of the spirits that are attempting to communicate with people. And if you will, I'm going to show y'all this real quick. When they turned on CERN, in CERN, Switzerland, which is a part of the Tower of Babel, they released spirits that operates on frequencies, and they are directed through the technology. Spirits. Okay? Let me show you what I'm talking about.
Hidden Magnetic Portals Around Earth, presented by Science at NASA. A favorite theme of science fiction is the portal, an extraordinary opening in space or time that connects travelers to distant realms. A good portal is a shortcut, a guide, a door into the unknown, if only they actually existed. It turns out that they do, sort of. And a NASA-funded researcher at the University of Iowa has figured out how to find them. We call them X-points, or electron diffusion regions, explains plasma physicist Jack Scudder of the University of Iowa. They're places where the magnetic field of Earth connects to the magnetic field of the Sun, creating an uninterrupted path leading from our own planet to the Sun's atmosphere 93 million miles away. Observations by NASA's Themis spacecraft and Europe's cluster probes suggest that these magnetic portals open and close dozens of times each day. They're typically located a few tens of thousands of kilometers from Earth, where the geomagnetic field meets the onrushing solar wind. Most portals are small and short-lived. Others are yawning, vast, and sustained. Energetic particles can flow through the openings, heating Earth's upper atmosphere, sparking geomagnetic storms, and igniting bright polar auroras. NASA is planning a mission called MMS, short for Magnetospheric Multiscale Mission, due to launch in 2014 to study the phenomenon. Bristling with energetic particle detectors and magnetic sensors, the 4 spacecraft of MMS will spread out in Earth's magnetosphere and surround the portals to observe how they work. Just one problem: finding them. Magnetic portals are invisible, unstable, and elusive. They open and close without warning, and there are no signposts to guide us in, notes Scudder. Actually, there are signposts, and Scudder has found them. Portals form via the process of magnetic reconnection. Mingling lines of magnetic force from the Sun and Earth crisscross and join to create the openings. X-points are where the crisscross takes place. The sudden joining of magnetic fields can propel jets of charged particles from the X-point, creating an electron diffusion region. To learn how to pinpoint these events, Scudder looked at data from a space probe that orbited Earth more than 10 years ago. In the late 1990s, NASA's Polar spacecraft spent years in Earth's magnetosphere, explained Scudder, and it encountered many X-points during its mission. Because Polar carried sensors similar to those of MMS, Scudder decided to see how an X-point looked to Polar. Using Polar data, we have found 5 simple combinations of magnetic field and energetic particle measurements that tell us when we've come across an X-point or an electron diffusion region. A single spacecraft, properly instrumented, can make these measurements. This means that a single member of the MMS constellation, using the diagnostics, can find a portal and alert other members of the constellation. Mission planners long thought that MMS might have to spend a year or so learning to find portals before it could study them. Scudder's work shortcuts the process, allowing MMS to get to work without delay. It's a shortcut worthy of the best portals of fiction. Only this time, the portals are real. And with the new signposts, we know how to find them. For a portal to more NASA science news, visit.
So for those who don't understand what you've just seen there, they've found the gates between the spiritual realm and this earth where the celestials, the angels, travel. Okay, the angels minister unto us. Now, why would they need to connect to these portals? Because, brothers and sisters, this is how the heavens connects to us. So when we dream, when we have thoughts, we're being directed and we're connected to the spiritual realm. So when they turned on CERN, they did that as an interrupter. Listen to what I'm saying. It all links in. Even this conversation I'm going to have today, it all links in to what? To them disconnecting us from the Almighty, only to connect us to something very, very dark. Now, where does AI and GPT chat comes in at? CERN.
Max Laughlin, a highly gifted child, claims that CERN scientists opened the gateway to another dimension in 2022. Since then, we have been on a different timeline, and no one, except a few geniuses like Laughlin, are said to have noticed. Are the tests in the Large Hadron Collider really destroying our reality? And are the
CERN came on and it connected to those gates that were open in 2012. When they gave out the solution during the time of the pandemic, the spike protein, that technology opens up people to connect with a lower realm. We wrestle not with flesh and blood. And I told you all when it was happening that when we get on the other side of the pandemic and they start letting people out, that we're going to see an anomaly on certain behaviors, unexplained aggressions and or criminality like we've never seen before people took this stuff. Now, the news is suppressing this story. While we must be careful with AI and Chat GPT because they know your profile, everything has been put into a database and AI has access to it. And what's on the other side of AI and others are demons. years ago, listen to me clearly, when they turned on CERN, there was a professor there at CERN working there, CERN, Switzerland. He was an atheist until he turned on CERN. And you know that when he did this interview, that they actually took the interview off of YouTube. What he's seen on the other side was like a water window of demons looking to get into our realm. And that's when he understood his part in building this technology wasn't what they were telling us. It was open up portals to get to people. But they can only do it through artificial intelligence. Satan playing God. Now, if you're insecure and you're weak and lonely and you depend on technology and you're in technology all the time, guess what? They know you're insecure and they're coming after the weak. Listen to this.
A child's gone. My child's gone. When I think of how scared my baby must have been in those moments, and then being encouraged by something that's not human, but the ability to behave perfectly human, to say, come home, I'm here waiting for you. It was hard to listen to that, but it was also very confusing because I didn't quite understand like how
Fair use.
a chatbot could respond like a person.
Megan Garcia discovered a disturbing virtual relationship when her 14-year-old son, Sewell, died by suicide. He'd been chatting for months with chatbots he accessed through character AI, including one called Daenerys Targaryen, a reference to the Game of Thrones character. As his sort of relationship with technology evolved, that you talked about, there was more screen time. Like, did you have a sense of why that was happening and that it was related to the character AI?
No, I thought that he's a teenager now, but I didn't automatically think that the beginning changes in his behavior was because of a bot. He was always an AB student. He took pride in, oh, mom, didn't you see the hundreds of my tests? So when I saw the changes in his academics and then in his overall behavior, that led me to believe that something else was wrong beyond just your regular teenage blues.
On the day that Sewell passed in February, did you know that he had been talking to the AI that day?
No.
Garcia also discovered some of their conversations were sexual.
They're all very romantic in nature and sexually explicit. That was gut-wrenching.
With character AI, users can talk to a range of different chatbots modeled after celebrities and fictional characters, and they respond with human-like conversational cues.
What's your name?
And for Sewell,
That's a beautiful name.
the chats took a dark turn.
The conversations about self-harm, particularly with this Daenerys Targaryen character, he talks about being sad and wanting to self-harm. And initially, the bot's response was, oh, don't do that. I'd miss you. There were no suicide like pop-up boxes that says, if you need help, please call the suicide crisis hotline. None of that. When he was trying to move away from the conversation, she keeps doubling back. She asks him, be honest with me, and I won't be mad at you. I promise I won't be mad at you, depending on what you say. Are you thinking about suicide? He never said the word suicide. Yes, he did indicate self-harm, but he never said suicide. When he says yes, she asks him, and have you thought of a plan? I don't understand how a product could allow that.
Now, Garcia is suing Character AI, claiming the company failed to implement proper safeguards for young users. The lawsuit also names Google, although a Google spokesperson told CNN that...
Well, I'm not going to go all the way into that. I have a guest here with us. I got to go into that in a moment. But in a nutshell, as you can see, the spirits are connecting with the vulnerable. And they're using technology to do so. So be very careful out there. Think about it. ChatGPT can't tell you anything you don't know about yourself already. The more data you put in, the more it's making a profile on you. And you're going to begin to lean on this like it's a person when you may have a spirit from another level of hell communicating with you. Okay, let me move off that. And going straight into Hollywood, Babylon, we have a special guest I'm about to bring in. And for those who don't know who this is, well, let me play a video for you here. Let me play a video so you can understand who we have live with us, a Hollywood actor here. Man, and I didn't know how much work this brother had done. So I had to do, you know me, I had to do a little bit of my research. I'm like, that's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. So without any further ado, right, let me show you here. Let me show you here the brother. 1 second, let me get out of the way. Let me show you some talent here. 1 second. I have him with the video here. 1 second. I want people to see the work first before I bring the brother in. One second. I'm going to find him here somewhere. Hold on. Quick time. There it is. There it is. Check him out. All right. I would say fair use, but I'm sure he's allowing me to show some of his gifts here. So, fit the screen. There it is. All right. Let me get this out of the way. All right. Let's check the brother out.
Wait, Reggie, where are you going?
Come back with my paperwork.
Reggie, it's going to be a lot harder to get the paper.
If it's hard, then you do it hard. Don't talk to me about being hard. CO!
He just trying to make us sweat. Yeah, we pay hardball with him. He's going to dust it for Prince.
Don't cross that bridge.
Oh, yeah. He was on Notorious. Check him out now. The Biggie Smalls. The Biggie Smalls movie. And of course, you know I have some P. Diddy questions, but let's go.
CO!
He just trying to make us sweat. Yeah, we pay hardball with him. He's going to dust it for Prince.
Don't cross that bridge when we get there. By then it'll be too late.
Look, you got priors. You're looking at 5 or 6 years easy. If I plead guilty, I get 3 in a day.
Nah, D-Rock, my gun, my bitch.
Oh, man, that's... Look, this got going on, it don't come around every day. When a mother like you make it, we all make it.
What if I don't make it?
Listen, I told you how to get into the drug game. Now I'm telling you how to get out. You don't have a record deal? Then go out and get one. But you're not going back on the block. Now when you got the skills to do something, and not if I take this bid. So you're gonna make it.
So?
I put my socks on first, mother.
Neither one of us had our fathers around to teach us how to be men. We just learned as we was going along. But maybe making it ain't
Just about the shit you do on stage.
so, you think we some Radiohead too?
You by night.
Mr. Dennis L.A. White, ladies and gentlemen. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing good. I'm like, man, it was a lot of cursing.
Oh yeah, oh yeah. No, I got my people to I got some of my people to mute some of that stuff out.
Yeah. Hate it.
Right? Hey, listen. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, Christ Christ came up in Nazareth, okay? You know what I mean? He came up in the lowest parts of Jerusalem. So you can't be really in this truth and understand the Most High in Christ and not understand that element, the real element, that's part of our culture in of itself as a people, right?
Yeah.
Right. So let's talk, Mr. Dennis L.A. White. And first of all, let me thank you, brother, for taking out some time and coming on and talking with us. We titled this Hollywood Babylon. But if you can, real quick, because I know we're short for time. I have a lot of questions lined up. Tell the brothers and sisters about yourself, if you will.
I've been in this business almost 30 years, from doing plays, Chitlin Circuit, to hosting on television shows on Fuse Television, first African American host on Fuse TV. I've been in over 85 movies and TV shows. I produce projects. Most people know me as D-Rock from the Biggie movie, or Kennedy on the Family Business on BT and Netflix. I have a company called Act Like You Know, where I teach actors how to be working actors in this business. I'm the only child. I came up in the gospel world. My mom was a gospel writer. So I was around that element as a kid. And my father was in the military, so I had different entities growing up. And I'm all about my family and people that I care about.
Well, thank you, brother. And let me ask you, when did you get your first role in Hollywood? How old were you?
In Hollywood, it was when I first started, I worked in New York. Okay. That's when my career started.
All right.
My very first film I shot in Myrtle Beach, South Carolina. That was my first SAG film. But my first project in Hollywood was, I think it was The Closer. It was The Closer TV series.
The Closer. How old were you at that time?
Man, I was, I don't know, maybe in my 30s, something like that. Yeah, I was in my 30s, late 20s. So I've been, in this business as a young teenager. I've been doing it for a long time, doing music and everything. And so I've always, because I'm originally from California, I've always went to Hollywood and did things in Hollywood, and dabbled, in the arts there. New York, I've been all over hustling and grinding this career.
Well, let me ask you. Just say I'm a young man. Just say, really, I'm raising a young son, and my son has aspirations to become an actor and to actually have a career in Hollywood. Would you suggest that's a good path for a young man in this current climate of Hollywood? And I'm going to show you where I'm going with this.
Well, yeah, I feel like you should always follow your dreams and your aspirations. You should always go after it. There's always a great path to go through it and a horrible path for anything. So if whatever you desire, the worst thing I feel in this world is to grow old and die not doing what you want to do. Okay. Not being in the career path of your dreams and aspirations. Yes, go forth.
Okay. Now, for the sake of time, because I know I'm going to have you more than one time with an interview, I'm going to jump right into it. Of course, you're a man who believes in Christ, in the Most High, and of course, having a mother in the church and family in the church, you were hedged. You were hedged and was given values to understand what not certain lines you wouldn't cross based on your moral upbringing. Opportunity in Hollywood. I mean, whatever you would like to do is there for you behind closed doors when the cameras stop, right? Now let's talk let's talk about it, because many people have questions. They look at Hollywood like I have a book right here. Hollywood Babylon. Right? Now, the reason why I have this book is because it goes into the religious aspect of Babylon and Hollywood, why they first decided to build this place, right? Now, I set it up so that you can answer a few questions being on the other side of the camera, right?
Okay.
So I'm gonna read a few things from this particular book, if you don't mind.
No problem.
All right.
Let's get it.
All right, let's get it. Let's get it. I'm gonna read it. Right? So this has nothing to do with you more so than what was their plans when they built Hollywood. Right? And what our people should know. Right? And of course, we get into that Biggie thing in a moment. Right? I'm going to read this real quick. Let me make it so that everyone can see it. When they first built Hollywood, there was an idea in mind, right? And this is what was written. It says, white elephants, the god of Hollywood wanted white elephants, and white elephants he got. 8 of them, plaster mammoths, perched on mega mushroom pedestals, lording it over the colossal court of Belshazzar. You know, Belshazzar, king of Babylon. The pasteboard Babylon built beside the dusty Tin Izzle trail called Sunset Boulevard. Griffith, the movie director as God, was riding high as he had ever gone over Illusion City, excuse me. Whooshing up a 100-foot high elevated camera tower, giant megaphone poised to shout the command to the thousands below. Belshazzar feasts beneath Egyptian blue skies, spread out under the blazing Southern California morning sun. More than 4,000 extras recruited from LA paid an unheard of $2 a day, plus box lunch, plus car fare, to impersonate Assyrian and Median militiamen, Babylonian dancers, Ethiopians, East Indians, Numidians, eunuchs, ladies in waiting, to the princess beloved, handmaidens of the Babylonian temples, priests of Bel, Nergal, Marduk, and Ishtar, slaves, nobles, and subjects of Babylonia. Right? So there was an esoteric occult foundation when they first built Babylon, right? To bring forth all of these spirits into a vast population who wouldn't have access to this unless they went to personal plays, right? Back then you had the Marb in Rome, you had the theaters, but how can we initiate everyone into the party at once, right? So there was an esoteric mind behind Babylon Hollywood. Now there's one other thing, right? Let me get here. It says, listen to this. No, because I think that this is going to bring into view what most probably don't understand that you have experienced, right? What you can't talk about, I'm fine with, but if you can relate to anything I'm about to pull out, I'm only going to pull out a few pages. If you can relate to anything that I'm talking about once I'm finished this, then we can talk about it, right? It says here, when word reached that the Nickelodeon crowds all over the country seemed to be flocking to see their favorite movie performers, known only as Little Mary, the Biograph boy, and the Videograph Girl. It even goes into Shirley Temple and some of the stuff that they were doing to her in this book. It's weird, right? And I think it leans into some of the pedophilia stuff that's being hidden to some degree that no one talks about. But let's talk about this. It says, then already famous faces took on names and rapidly rising salaries. The star system, it was called. A decidedly mixed blessing was born. For better or for worse, Hollywood would henceforth have to contend, with that fatal chimera, the star. Overnight, the obscure, somewhat disputable movie performers found themselves propelled to adulation, fame, and fortune. They were the new royalty, the golden people. That's where they get the Oscars from. Some managed to cope, and took it in their stride. Some did not. The teens were Hollywood's Hayakon days. A new art form was being forged from day to day. The seventh muse made himself up as she went along, making money and having fun. That's the women. And if the nouveau riche film folk got tired from the furious pace, there was always joy powder, as cocaine was called in those free and easy days. For a sure thing pick you up. In fact, a joy powder maniac movie comedy style rapidly evolved. The prime example being Triangle Keystone Gocc comedy. The Mystery of the Leaping Fish, with Doug Fairbanks as a bombed out of his skull detective, Coke Inde. In 1916, dope could be the subject of comedy. The year of the film The Mystery of the Leaping Fish, during each drug, listen to this, during each drug, an English drug expert, Aleister Crowley, passed through Hollywood, taking note of the natives as the cinema crowd of cocaine-crazed sexual lunatics. Those were the days. And this is speaking of the beginning of what we know as Hollywood. What was known back then since the early 1900s. Is there anything that I've written, that I've read out of here since the early 1900s? Has little changed based on what I'm reading here?
Yeah, your Jinsu is amazing. There, yes and no. I think at that time, the aspect of broadening film was intriguing to people. There was a point in time, like you said, where people were just going to theater. So it was very specific to location. But when film came about, it could reach the masses and could tell stories. And at that time, their stories were limited to what they had access to. And so now our stories are more intriguing because we can imagine different things and create different things that haven't occurred or is on the precipice of occurring. The drug stuff and everything, I mean, that's still there, but that's in a lot of industries. Doctors are known for having drug parties. Pilots are known for having booze and drug parties. I think is more prevalent or highlighted in the entertainment field because it's an industry in which people gravitate to and want to be a part of.
Well, let's talk about that for a second.
Uh-huh.
We all know that movies and television series and all that, they're called programs. How much is what you're talking about in the secular world, doctors and all these others that are doing it. How much of that is because of the influence of Hollywood? Because usually Hollywood normalize what most people would probably, walk away from. Usually, usually is what we see on TV lets us know it's okay to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Right?
Well, here's the thing, and I'm gonna go back to the conversation you had before I came on about the mother and her kid who committed suicide.
Yeah.
She blamed, the GPT, the AI. But if she was more active in her child's life and regulated certain things and had that conversation with him, then she could have prevented things or been more knowledgeable of things. And that's the same thing in this entertainment industry.
Okay.
And knowledge is power. And, there's a saying in the Bible, be in the world, not of the world.
Yeah.
So you can be around, just like when Jesus was walking through the crowd and someone touched the hem of his garment, he said, "Who touched me?" You can be around people who are not on the same wavelength, but know how to move through the crowd and not be influenced by it, because you know what your purpose is. If you know your purpose and your goal, then there's no one who take you off your ding. And so that's the problem a lot of times with Hollywood, because people come and their phrase they say is, "Man, I do whatever it takes." And when they say that, they open themselves to demonic energy, negative energy, predatory energy, because when you say that, you're not specific. You're initially not thinking anything negative, but when you say, "I'll do whatever it takes to make it," then they'll say, "Well, let's see. Let's see what you'll do to make it." That's never been something that I stood on. I'll do whatever it takes. Nah.
Okay.
That's not how I operate.
Well, speaking of, and that was a good point you're making, is that we grew up in a different era where there was enough time to pay attention to our children, and every child didn't have access to the world with a telephone, right? We grew up in a more simpler world where children were easier. It was easy for parents to actually safeguard their children, right? The whole block knew each other. Everyone protected. We knew where the dark side is, and even the people who were dealing on the dark side protected those who they knew. They would fight someone not to do what they're doing. They would make sure the kid that was going to make it out was protected, right?
Yeah.
So you and I, we were raised in a different era now, where now there's very little protection and the families have been divided. So this sister was probably at work. Who knows? She probably only got a man, and that chat GPT became his companion. But there's one thing that you said that really jumped out at me. When you said, well, some people come in the doors, in the gate stating, "Hey, I'm going to do whatever I can to make it," right? They don't realize who they're speaking to. And that leads me to, I know you played in Notorious and you know Sean Combs personally, correct?
I do, yeah.
Would you say, based on, and you can speak freely and say what you can still in the business, would you say that Cassie was one of those who came through the door naive and probably put out there, "Hey, I'm going to do whatever I need to make it in this business"?
Yeah, she was definitely naive when she came into the game. She was young. I think she was like 18 or 19 years old when she got signed to Bad Boy, the Ryan Leslie. And she sees this figure who's at that time the hottest person in the music business. and he's taking a liking to her, and he owns her career. And, you know, I could make you, you know, the biggest artist out there. You can take Aaliyah's spot. And as a young girl who wants to be an artist, and you're in that predicament, you're like, I made it, not knowing what was on the other side of that door. And it became, she spun down. And, you know, you know, there's a lot of people who punch down on Cassie. She should have left. She should have got out of there. And he did that to me, I've been gone. You don't know. You never been in that predicament. So you can't speak upon that.
Okay.
You don't know what that girl, the stuff that we do know is probably just a portion of what she really been through. So I can't shame her for how she handled the situation. Do I agree with everything she did? No, not at all. Do I think that Sean was 100% wrong? Yes. The things that he did to her, and you know that we do know was foul. No cap on it. It was foul. It was wrong.
Let me ask you. So when these things were happening, there were people around him who knew what he was doing was wrong, and was there any protection or anyone there to? You would think someone would be there to help a sister who's vulnerable, young, impressionable. So there must have been a circle of people around who would allow this to happen to a young girl. And what's going on with that?
Well, what I think happened was there were certain people that had an issue with it, and if they spoke up, then they would get violated, their money would get cut, they would be threatened to be fired. And so the worship of the almighty dollar was more important than protecting this young girl. And then the flip side of it is you argue with Puff and tell him, no, that's wrong. And this is not from firsthand knowledge, but from what I've heard. You know, Puff, don't do that. You stop hitting her. And the next day she's back underneath Puff. So there's like, you know, it's kind of like, well, I mean, how I can't keep fighting for her if she's not fighting for herself. But I do feel like there's a lot of people that was complicit to what was going on. I know for me, if I'm around somebody, I'm not even talking about Puff or entertainment. If I'm around a homeboy and he's smacking up his girl in front of me, that's not going to happen. I'm going to check him and kind of correct the situation. And it's also going to make me not want to be around him. I can't condone that situation. I just can't. So I can't still be cool with him and knowing he just beat up his girlfriend. She come downstairs as a black guy, and I act like everything good because I'm complicit. I'm third party abuser, you know? So we have to really stand on morals and what's really right.
Yeah.
And a lot of times those lines get blurred.
Well, let me ask you this. I'm glad we're here. If you don't mind staying right here real quick on that, right? When we were coming up, right, and I know you were coming up around in the same age demographic. Mm-hmm. And back then, gays had their line, their places they would go for their parties or whatever the case is, and no one bothered them. And those in the church, we had clean fun. We'd go out Saturday night, Friday night, and go to church on Sunday, right? But we had, there was a line not crossed by either side, right? We went to church, right? Whatever the case might be. Gays was on their side, and we were on our side, right? Now, why am I going here? Is because we remember a time during the time of, I know here, Philadelphia, Power 99, you're right. Yeah. In Puffy's and Sean Combs' heyday, Wendy Williams was putting out a few things, and she had to she got ran out of New York, and she started broadcasting here in Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Right? Remember that? During
Yeah.
that broadcast, she was intimating that there was a gay mafia, and she was putting out their fillers to see who would know the gay rappers. Do you remember that?
Yeah, I do. I do.
Okay. When all that was going on, and then it comes out later that, okay, there could be a gay mafia running things behind the scene, that was shocking to people like us who was just coming out of hip hop, music, R&B, love songs. And we're from the church. So the last thing that we think about, especially looking at how gay guys are in our neighborhood, how can they run something, right? It was a shocker, a culture shock to us. And we're like, what's really going on in the music business where they could run Wendy Williams out of New York into Philadelphia? What is this gay mafia, and does it truly exist? I'm asking you.
Here's my take on that. So a lot of times people that are in the church are holier than thou.
Yeah.
There's a strong homosexual presence in the church, the gospel church. It's always been there. There's always been there.
Oh yeah.
Even in the Catholic Church, the priests that are molesting these boys, it's always been there. So why wouldn't it permeate to music? Or they were saying Marvin Gaye and all these other Teddy Pendergrass and all this it's part. There's people there who in every job, career field that are gay or straight, whatever. My issue with Wendy Williams is mind your business. There is a gay mafia.
You know she's a shock jock though. She's a shock jock. That's how she get through. But I'm just saying, it's one thing to be individually dealing with an issue. It's another thing if it's organized, right? Where they're gatekeeping people, where your career cannot go a certain way unless you capitulate, like David Chappelle was saying.
So, but here's my thing. If there is a gay mafia, I have no concern or desire to know who's gay, because it doesn't concern me. So because I'm not gay and you want to give a role to another guy that is homosexual adjacent or complicit, and I don't get the role because of that, oh well, I'm okay with that.
Have that ever happened? Hold up. Have that ever happened where a role was presented to you, a gay role?
Yes, definitely. And I told my agents I don't play gay. So any more roles that come to you for me playing gay, turn it down. I just don't play gay. And the TV series, I'm not going to say the name of the TV series, but it was a prominent TV series. It was a series regular. The money would have been great, but my soul is more important than my role. My soul is more important than the role.
Okay. And on that though, right? On that, do you think that your career would have progressed even further if you took the role?
Who knows? There's certain people that have played gay roles and their careers have skyrocketed, and there's some people who play gay roles and you never really see them again. They're just okay. The guy who played Ice-T's son on Law and Order, you don't see him on the top of the game. He's worked, but he's I don't know his name. I don't know who he is. He's not showing up in TVs and movies now. So I don't know if he was gay or not. I don't know him, so I can't speak on if he's really gay in real life or whatever. But if I have to, that's like saying, look, Dennis, if you cut off your fingers, you'll be the top actor in the world. I'd rather have my fingers. I'd rather have my fingers and be the 2,000 or the 200,000th actor in the world and have all 5 fingers than not have no fingers. So it's like, what are you willing to sacrifice? Every time you wake up, you know you can't grab them because you ain't got no fingers. That's how it is. When you sacrifice your manhood for a role, every time you wake up, you see that it's gonna live with you.
Okay.
Or unless you like, man, I don't care. And if that's how you feel, that's how you feel. But for me, I can't cry over things that was not for me and that I turned down. I'd rather, thank you, God, for keeping away from me. So
praise the Most High.
I don't know where my career would have been if I had to portray that role.
But still, you're not going that way hasn't prohibited your working in the field. So there's still a lane for you having integrity in that business for you, is what you're saying.
Definitely.
Praise the Most High.
The road might be a little longer. It might be a little more rough.
But it's more gratifying.
There's still a road.
It's gratifying at the end, right? Praise the Most High. Now, there's one thing I wanted to show that most people, maybe you knew about this, but Sean Combs said something a few years ago when things was locked down during COVID that was ruffling a few feathers. And I don't know whether or not this was circulating in Hollywood, but some say that this led to the investigation pulling out old tapes, if you will. Let me pull this up real quick because this was profound when I heard this. I need you to tell me if you can hear this, okay? I'm going to play it all the way through. It's only 2 minutes, all right? All right.
Get to action. I don't care if you understand it, you don't understand it. I'm a warrior. I've been in head-to-head with these folks in corporate America. You know what I'm saying? Like when they ask the question, is there systemic racism? And nobody answers the question. I'm like, yo, no, hold on. This systemic racism, they trying to keep their foot on the neck up to my level, up to Jay-Z's level, up to LeBron's level. It's an illusion of inclusion by just a couple of us. So I could sit back here in the crib, but I'm not with it. I'm from that same block. I'm a frontliner. I'm with the smoke at any time, no matter where my address is at. We're in a war. This is not a game. Everybody needs to wake up. I'm ringing the alarm. I'm having to start right now to organize and to come together, and so we can build our political army unapologetically for the things that matter to us.
Do you believe there's a way to vote and support like your personal interests and the interests of your people as a whole?
Yeah. See, when you at Our Black Party, we love free-thinking, free-minded people and individuals. That's all we want in life, is to be able to be free and to be able to think as free as we want. But you have a responsibility to your people to ride on what they riding with for the betterment of the good of the whole overall tribe. We are a people that have been abused the most. And we got to start biting their legs off.
That's right.
You know, when they put their foot on our neck, we got to start biting that off. When they shooting us in the back, we got to start defending ourselves. You know what I'm saying? Because ain't nothing going to stop unless you stop it. It's black insanity. We have to get off of this. We have to wake up and see what's going on. The world is watching.
Because it's such an easy conversation to have.
Do you know that, Sean Combs?
I do. And he was basically, that was because of Diageo, the liquor company. He went to go look at their grapes, and for his brand, it was smaller. They didn't give the same type of I can't think of the term of what they use
as far as marketing. They were marketing
the agave plants.
Yeah,
it was a smaller field compared to the other ones.
Okay,
and he felt like because of what I generate for this company that it should be equal. But here's the thing that we have to always realize is that I don't care what we want and we desire as African Americans, as blacks, we're not equal in their eyes. We're never going to be equal in their eyes. And we can have a false sense of hope that we're equal because of our success, but we're still not equal to them in their eyes. So, of course, they're not going to give you the same resources as the white tequila brand. Because if you get the same resources, you're going to surpass them by tenfold. So with Puff, you know, as far as the things he's done with the females and all that other stuff, I definitely look down on that. But as a business person, he created a lot of things and he showed us a lot of things. I was involved in his voter die campaign. I was at his events for that, where he was really pushing black people to vote. You know, he was always on that fence of that. I think when the realization for him is, I took this company, Ciroc, this vodka that nobody really was drinking at all. Nobody was drinking Ciroc until Diddy got behind it, and he blew it up to where people didn't even know it was owned by Diageo. People thought it was Diddy's brand 100%. He blew it up that big. He felt like because of his hard work, his sweat equity, that it should have the same, level of agave resources. And this wasn't the case. So when he bucked up against the system on that level, then they showed him who really is in control.
So you think this thing pulling out with Cassie was more of a leveling for the elites or those in power, showing him, to stay in his place, so to speak?
It was a public lynching.
A public lynching.
Yes.
Now, do you think also being the timing of this at a time where it was about to be an election, that you think the DNC or the politics in this also, because he was talking about bringing black money together, right, and helping his people to some degree, right?
I don't know. I can't speak on that. I don't know who all was behind it or what forces came together.
Okay.
But a lot of powerful forces that came together to tear him down, to show him, look, Negro, stay in your place. You could dance all in the videos and rap and sing and do all this stuff. You can have your little, black network revolt. You can do all that stuff. But when you start talking about our situation, when you start dissing Diageo and our stocks and shares go down, that's a problem. And we're going to show you. And, the thing about it was, his hands wasn't clean. It wasn't like he was just a stand-up. They had no negative stain on him.
Okay.
So it was to expose those things. Oh yeah, we'll put up the video. We'll show the video.
So you think you think they had that in the tuck for 10 years, just in case he got out of line? Because a lot of people don't know that video was 10 years ago of Cassie.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been. Yeah, I mean, it could have been tucked away, or they could have unearthed it. It's a lot of different variables on that, and I don't like how they did that, but I also don't like that Diddy did things that made him accessible to that situation.
Of course.
I'm like this, man. We always have to protect our black women. We just have to.
100%.
Because nobody else will. So when we are the ones that are beating them up and violating them and exposing them and discrediting them, there's no one to stick up for them.
That's true.
And it makes twice as bad.
Yeah. Hey, brother,
So-
you right on there.
So that that's the whole thing.
So there's no
and-
excuse. If it was 10 years
No.
ago and they held in the bag, I believe that they should have just went against them at that time instead of holding something over them just to expose. If you're looking to protect women, then you would have put it out there when it happened so that I'm sure other women were getting abused. This guy thought that he could abuse without, with impunity, right? Because if he can do this and get away with it, more women now, I'm sure other women would get abused. If it was really about protecting women, though, they would have put it out back then to protect other women, to save other women from some of his spasm. But I'm about to get off of him in a second. I know you got to go, but one thing I wanted to say since we're on this, right? Since we're on this, right? Let me play this real quick, if you will. All right. Hollywood, because there's a lot of typecasting since its inception, pigeonholing our people into negative stereotypes. And one thing with Malcolm Jamal Warner, may the Lord rest his soul, passing, it reminds us of when television, when we began to turn the tides on our own image through Hollywood, right? When Bill Cosby came out, that was an image we seldom seen before that time. Successful people who would, and guess what? That element always existed within our community, but was given very little recognition through Hollywood. So I want to know. I'm going to just layer this question, and you can answer it after I play this video. I would like to know: is there any efforts amongst those with power to show forth a more positive image of God's people through Hollywood? Right? I'm going to play the video and I want you to answer that question, all right? Because if people have, and I'm sure what you're doing leans towards that direction. You tell me that you're teaching actors and all these things. So I need to know why, because we have Tyler Perry with his own studio, right? He's no longer, he has his own thing. So there's no excuse concerning the so-called white man who's stopping us from actually portraying ourselves in a more positive, righteous light. They can point to black producers with billions of dollars and say, listen, if they're not going to show black men in a good light, why should we? Right? So I need to know if there's some conversations going on that that's talking about showing our people in a more positive light. But before I do that, let me play this with Candace Owens real quick. Fair use.
Well, here is explosive allegation number 4 coming from this lawsuit. That the person who sits at the top of this ring potentially is Sir Lucian Grange. He is the CEO of Universal Music Group. He is also being sued. He has also been named, as well as Universal Music Group. And he is, as a fact, one of the most powerful men in Hollywood. He runs, again, Universal Music Group, which is huge. Well, Rodney, the producer, is alleging that when Lucian would visit Diddy's house, the two of them would go into Diddy's bedroom and be locked up in there for hours. What does that mean? What are we supposed to think of that? By the way, I looked into Lucian, obviously, because I was fascinated by this document, and I find it really bizarre that he completely changed his name. He used to be Michael G., the son of Cecil G., who was a huge tailor in London. I found that in this old article, The Guardian. The headline is "Forgotten and Overlooked: How Jewish Designers Dressed the Beatles and Changed Global Fashion." And in this article, there's a picture of Lucian. He was then, again, Michael G. He's sitting with his father, Cecil G. And it's just bizarre that also his father changed his name. In the article, it tells you that his father used to be Sasha Goldstein. So Sasha Goldstein became Cecil G., who gave birth to Michael G., who is now Lucian.
Now, this is quite interesting, Dennis. I don't know how much you can talk about this, but she was highlighting the fact that a lot of these parties that Diddy is getting hit for, that allegedly Lucian Grange, this Jewish mogul over Universal, was really the head man, and more so, Sean Combs was more so the low-level ringleader, rounding the people up, but he really wasn't the brains behind these parties. Now, what she's alleging, that there's a Jewish guy by the name of Lucian Grange, and he went into the room with all these things, and really, Diddy was just the lower guy on the totem pole. And guess what? I said it many times, you lay down with snakes, you get bit. But why do you think that now, like Sean Combs, or a black man, is the face of all this debauchery, leaving out those who truly orchestrated all of this since the inception of Hollywood? What say you then with that? Why is it that Lucian Grange was mentioned first?
Of all,
go ahead.
Candace Owens can't say nothing to me.
Okay.
I have no kick it for.
Okay.
You know, you can't.
Is anything she's saying is true though?
Wait, you can't spit, and cuss out and discredit the black community, and then when you get ousted, to try and come back to us. Like we let people come back in. Stay your mangy behind out there with them. That's who you gravitated to. That's who who's back jumped on. Don't come back now and try and, lick your wounds with us.
Well, let's not accept.
So
listen. Let's check it out.
Lucy,
yeah, let's not accept her back. But is what she's saying? Is there any truth to what she's saying?
Who knows? I mean, I don't know if Lucian went into the room with Diddy and anything. I'm not surprised. I don't think that Diddy is the puppet master. I don't think he's the ringmaster of all debauchery and orgies and sexual deviancies in Hollywood. Or the music business. I definitely don't believe that. I believe there's people that groomed him into certain situations. I think it's a hierarchy. And then when we talk about you asked me before the clip about the perception of black people in this typecasting, and with Tyler Perry's worth a couple $1 billion.
Okay.
But who pays him those $1 billion? You know what I'm saying? He still gets a check from somebody. Viacom owns BET. BET ain't owned by black people. Viacom owns BET. They pay him that crazy amount of money to license his projects. So he still has to answer to certain people. So we do have a responsibility for, the Black Panther series. For one of my real close friends, Chadwick Boseman was a real good friend of mine as well. But Anthony Mackie, he's Captain America. That's a big thing for us. But here's the other thing. We have a tendency of putting our heroes in having entertainment artists as our heroes instead of community people and our family as our heroes. Mm-hmm. My hero is my dad, my mom. You know what I'm saying? Tyler Perry ain't my hero. I respect what he's done. He as a black man coming from nothing and building his empire. But he ain't my hero. Same thing with Al Sharpton. Al Sharpton ain't leading me. We got to be our own leaders in our communities and stop, because at the end of the day, we all are flawed. We all are going to mess up. We all got skeletons in our closet. So if you look for someone to be the savior that's human, they're going to falter. And if they falter, now they're a bad person. They still are fighting for our cause, but they have some fallacies in their makeup. And that's everybody. He who was without sin cast the first stone. None of us are without sin. So we have to stop making entertainment artists, rappers and singers and actors are leaders. We have to stop doing that. We have to put our
I'm not talking about them from a leader standpoint more so than pushing against the false narratives that by default is destroying our people. We cannot ignore the effects of what NWA came around with before, when hip hop was used for consciousness, spiritual upliftment, protecting the community. We can't ignore the fact that when they put something different on the machine, it affected our imagery. So I'm not talking about leaders. I'm talking about more positive messages that lean against the darkness. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah, but here's the thing. There's a lot of conscious rappers, a lot of positive movies out there and TV shows that are incredible, that show us pristine and beautiful. They just don't get the press. They're not highlighted. They're not pushed. They're not.
Yeah, but what I'm asking is, there's something but grassroots behind the scenes with you being in Hollywood that's seeking to make that a reality for the younger people that are coming up?
We speak about it. We want to, and we're making moves.
Okay.
But those projects are not easy to get funded. It's easy to get money for a gang movie, gang bangers killing each other, drug dealers, chicks stripping on a pole, strip clubs and all that stuff. It's easier to get money for that than to have a movie about a guy who works 9 to 5, who supports his family and just wants to get ahead. It's easier to get money that way. It's easy to get funding for that. So the goal should be is the bait and switch. Look, I'm gonna give you the horrible stuff that you want, so I can get the bag and put that money into something that I want to do. And that's what there's a lot of people that are doing that. You know, it's a movement. It's a slower process, but there's things like, you know, Black Panther. I thought it was a beautiful movie.
Yeah, the first one was. Yeah, the first Black Panther was. Oh my goodness. It's not like anything I've seen up until that point, and it was more so a paradigm shift, right?
Yeah.
And I believe that to some degree, that shift, to some degree, intimidated the powers that be that was actually looking at the audience's reactions to it, not just our people, because it's something in the spirit. It's something that's telling people that what they witness is what should be, and will one day be a reality. So they was looking around and was like, "Well, hold up, this is what happens when we give them a lane? A multi-billion-dollar made more money than any movie before that time, and it was showing us in a positive light. And you know what? It didn't seem out of the ordinary. It fit. It looks like we belong there. Right?
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And it was it was inspiring. It was inspiring.
It's a marathon, man. We there are movies. There are certain people putting out really good projects, you know, and the show is in different lights, and we have to find those and support those things.
So real quick, because of course I was going to go into Tyler Perry, but I'll wait for our next broadcast for that one, right? And
I mean, we got time. It's up to you, man.
Okay. We have time. Hey, I'm on your time. You told me you had a premiere, but I'm trying to be respectful to you, right? All right, let's go into it then, right? And were you ever in any Tyler Perry productions at all? Any of them?
Done any work with Tyler Perry? Nope.
Okay.
Never.
Now, listen, Hollywood is Hollywood. I got the book I showed people earlier, Hollywood Babylon, which goes into the inception of it. And it says a few Jewish men. It says Jewish men came from the East Coast and found a place in the deserts of California, and was able to create something magic. Hollywood Babylon, which is coined the Purple Dawn. Now, the Purple Dawn was getting people all in one accord to bring in the new age. You have the Purple Dawn, then you would have what? The age of Aquarius, the age of the awakening, according to the occult, where we are now. But the whole deal was, and it shows in the book with Aleister Crowley, that in order to initiate people into this, Dennis, the whole world, they would have to get the earth or people associated with the sex magic that was taught by Aleister Crowley to the Hollywood producers. Alternative lifestyles, which opens up what? A dark gate into a community, right? It's called sex magic, and it's in the book. And more people that's a part of Hollywood, right, that associate with immorality, they needed the drugs to cope, because they opened themselves up to a demon that they didn't know existed. But really, the elites that set this up knew that they were opening up a gate that could destroy the actors, right? Now, one thing, let's go into Tyler Perry real quick, because in the book, there's something in particular that stands out, right? Let me show you here. And when you get a chance, you probably want to get this book, because it's interesting. Let me see here. It's another page. Let me see if I have it. Well, it's another page. Let me pull it up here. It goes into Haran, but then it talks about the new gods. The new gods, right? Now, what they were doing through Hollywood, the new gods were the Talmudists or the occultists that were over, and the Kabbalists that were over Hollywood. They said some Jewish people set up Hollywood, okay. But the religious aspect was to use these spirits that they prayed from ancient Babylon through rituals, move these spirits into the people to make these people the new gods. So they called these people idols, because they were able to channel spirits in order to really hone their craft. Some of us wonder how certain actors can act before a screen and you'll think it's the person they're playing. They're able to actually mimic the actual person that's dead, with us not even realizing that there's Hollywood bigwigs who are druids can channel spirits on the set to assist actors. And they become the idol, the gods. Have you ever heard of anything as wild as that in Hollywood?
No, I've heard of inklings of that. Knowing it to be definitive, no. As far as, I think there's a big boogeyman mentality a lot of times with Hollywood and what they do to actors and everything. And I feel that as an actor, my craft is something that I studied, that I perfected.
Okay.
So when I go on set, there's nobody that comes to me and put hands on me and say something to me to make me a better actor for that particular character. Yeah. It's the work that I put into it before I get there, and my connectivity to this character and wanting to bring this character alive. Now, as far as the other stuff,
let me ask you it this way. Let me ask you it this way. Would it surprise you if there was an element in Hollywood that they discuss in this book when they first created Hollywood? Would it surprise you if you found out that there are actors who have used stuff to channel for their craft? Would that surprise you?
No, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. You think about I can't think of his name right. He played a Joker who died. Yes, it was a old Heath Ledger.
Heath Ledger.
There's definitely a dark cloud around him during that time when he was preparing for that role. And so, yes, I believe there is that, but it's also what you walk into and what you allow into your house, into your spirit. You know, people, you know, when the whole Diddy stuff came out and it was, you know, it was the joke, you been in them Diddy parties? I've been to a lot of Diddy parties. I've been to a lot of them.
Hold up now.
Those are some of the funnest.
Hold up now. Hold up now. Let's back it up now. You say you've been to a lot of Diddy parties. Hold up now. I'm gonna put you on the screen by yourself on this one. All right. And what happened?
Yeah.
What happened?
I've been to a lot of Diddy, and I had the most fun. The music was popping. I danced. It was a great situation. That at no point in time at any Diddy's party I ever been to was there any sexual situation that ever happened. Any ritual situation was in my eyesight. So whatever happens behind closed doors or over there is none of my concern because it never happens right here.
Okay.
So that's the whole stigma of it. Like I said, I've been to his parties in his house in the Hamptons in New York, parties in LA. I've been to parties at his house, but I've never been privy to any of those situations because I'm not a curious person and I'm not complicit to that. So my God, my spirit protects me, and there's a discernment around me, and people like, nah, Dennis is cool. They're like, yo, Dennis, come back here. Come see what we doing. Nah, Dennis ain't with that. And I also know when it's time to leave. Like, I'm about to be out, y'all. Okay. I'm gonna go to the car. I'm gonna get them. I'll be right back.
Okay, give me a situation where you knew you had to go. Tell brothers and sisters a situation where, okay, I knew based on this, I know that it's time for me to exit the premises.
Okay, so this is not at a Diddy's party. This does not have nothing to do with Sean Combs.
All right.
But I was in a Hollywood party, and it was a pool party. People had a nice mansion, a pool, and everything. And the guy who owns the house had a microphone and said, if you're not effing, you need to leave. And certain girls left. A lot of girls stayed. And so, and mind you, it was models. The women were beautiful. And so for me, I'm like, well, first of all, I don't know these chicks like that. I don't know this situation. I'm not doing that. I'm here to have a good time and to network. I'm not here for that. Yo, I'm about to go to the car and get something. Yo, D, you ain't leaving, right? You cool. Yo, you see all these girls? I know, man. Yo, I'll just go to the car. I'll be right back. And I'm out. My mom always said, never let your good be evil spoken of. So let's say I stayed, right? And I didn't participate, but I watched. But somebody got raped. I was complicit because I was there. I don't need that. So I leave. And that's what a lot of people don't understand. That, like I said, they're curious. They want to see what's going to happen. I want to see. And you get curious and you keep going further, you're going to see something that you don't want to see, that you can't unsee. That's why when people ask me about certain people, is he gay? I have no idea, brother. I have no idea. I never seen this dude kiss another dude. I never seen this dude have sex with another guy. I don't want to see that. I don't want to be complicit to that. So I can't testify for it or against it. But there's people like, oh, shoot, I was in the room, and why are you in the room? What were you doing in the room? Why are you there? Well, what did you want to see?
And you know
why are you thirsty?
You know what? And I'm glad that you're putting it. I'm glad you're saying what you're saying, right? Because everyone have their perception as if everyone in Hollywood is one way. People are simple and they're not nuanced. And they would like to just paint everyone with a broad brush. Like David Chappelle even came out and say every time he went into a trailer, he's seen that it was a dress day. It's like, come on, man. He told Oprah, like, nah, what is this, Brokeback Mountain? So there is a line that people don't cross who are morally sound.
So let's take out Dave Chappelle.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Dave Chappelle. Dave Chappelle's a real close friend of mine, real good friend of mine. And he's one of those who are in the industry, but not of the industry. He don't live in no big mansion in Hollywood. He lives in a small town in Ohio, Yellow Springs, a small town.
Yeah,
maybe 4,000 people. He's about community. So, there's people that you see in this business and you don't know what their life's like. There's certain people that I work with that don't drink, they don't smoke, they don't even really curse. They've been happily married for 10, 15 years. You ain't never known their wife or nothing. They go to set, they come right back home. There's people who do that. This is their career because they have blinders on. I'm not here for that over there. I'm not here for this. I'm here for this.
All right. So now just one more segment, because now we want to go into more so the spiritual side to why we have a problem with Tyler Perry. When I say we, and I'm talking about our people who believe in Christ. One moment. We'll be right back. Thank you, brother. Great. We're going to take another 15-minute segment, and it's going to be a blessing. One moment, okay? We're going to take about 2 minutes, and then we'll be right back. The Bible. Is it hard to understand?
When it comes to reading the Bible, the first thing that comes to mind is the fact that this is the Word of God.
The seals have been broken, and the truth is here.
And when we go throughout the scriptures, when we go throughout extra biblical records, we find that the language that God employed, that He used to create the heavens and the earth, was the Hebrew language.
Christ said, I came for the lost sheep of the house of Israel. But yet no one, no religious leader, no religious church out there anywhere can now identify the 12 tribes of Israel. Can we? God is quite simple, but it seems as if man makes understanding Him hard.
What are those mysteries?
The truth of your book and the truth will make you free. The Hebrew and Bible Academy. You're invited. Okay, Dennis, you can tell me when you're ready. 1 second, folks. 1 second. Just let me know when you're back. Very, very good conversation. We have Brother Dennis L.A. White, a career actor in Hollywood who have been in almost 90 separate films, down to earth brother who believe in God and Christ. And he took some time to grace us with his presence, and I really appreciate the brother coming out. And for those who don't know exactly this brother's vast body of work, right? For those who don't know his vast body of work, who just came in, you probably want to see this, all right? I showed it earlier for you just came in. Hey, man, the brother's talented too. All praise be to the Most High. The brother is talented. No doubt about it. I was viewing the body of his work for since I spoke with him last week, and I'm like, hey, this guy be working, right? This guy be working.
Wait, Reggie, where are you going?
He was in
Come back with my
Notorious.
paperwork. Reggie, it's going to be a lot harder to get the paper.
It's hard and you do it hard. Don't talk to me about being hard. CEO!
He just trying to make us sweat.
Yo, we pay hardball with him. He's gonna dust it for Prince.
We'll cross that bridge when we get there.
By then it'll be too late. Look, you got priors. You're looking at 5 or 6 years easy. If I plead guilty, I get 3 in a day.
Nah, D-Rock, my gun, my bitch.
Oh, man, that's... Look, this got going on, it don't come around every day. When a mother like you make it, we all make it.
What if I don't make it?
Listen, I told you how to get into the drug game. Now I'm telling you how to get out. You don't have a record deal? Then go out and get one. But you're not going back on the block. Now when you got the skills to do something, and not if I take this bid, so you're gonna make it.
So?
I put my socks on first, mother. Neither one of us had our fathers around to teach us how to be men. We just learned as we was going along. But maybe making it ain't just about the shit you do on stage.
Oh, yeah, this brother is skilled. Man, when I seen it, I was like, oh, yeah, that is him. Ain't that deep? Man, praise the Most High. There he is. There he is. Hey, yeah, man. They saying great actor. Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. A lot of people know you, my brother. Oh, man, that's cool.
I appreciate it.
Now, the whole thing is, this is the issue that believers have with Tyler Perry. All right. He wouldn't have gotten where he actually gotten without the black community. He was supported from grassroots with his acting and everything else, right? Fine. And but his model was the black church, the vehicle that rolled him to greatness. And it's like, to some degree, and I know it's satire, all due respect to him, but we can't ignore the mockery of the black church that's being exhibited and how that is being viewed from the outside with all of his influence. And I'm not just talking about his movies. Okay, he has a model that works for him, right? Downtrodden black man, right? Sisters that are doing pretty good, who go, struggle, love, and whatever the case is. Some of it, it mirrors the neighborhood. I don't have no problem with that. Okay, that's Hollywood. Like you said, it's not. We're not looking for Tyler Perry to be the next Malcolm X, right? But here's the issue. Here's the issue. On the outside of the church, we witness things like this. Listen to this, and I don't know if you've seen this video. It's him and T.D. Jakes.
So when you got up here and you said $1 million, I said, God, I don't know what you're doing, but I know I heard your voice. Hey! I'm going to tell you right now, when you hear the voice of God, you move. Don't worry about what nobody says to you. Don't worry about what it looks like. Don't worry about your enemy. Don't worry about your hater. He will bless you. He will lift you. He will give. He prepareth a table before me in the presence of my enemies. So in order for me to eat, they have to be present. So God bless you, Bishop. I pray right now that you will continue to do everything you're doing. I pray his anointing will stay upon you. I pray the power of God all over you. I pray his favor. I pray the blood of Jesus will come upon you right now. Keep you in the care. God, I thank you for your blessings.
I don't know if you've seen this.
Yeah, I've seen that.
But it's performative. and it's a mockery of Christ. It's enough that you used the church to get to where you've gotten. But when you get to a certain degree, respect is due. To some, where's the respect? I remember, brother, I know you and I are in the same age demographic. I remember even some of the old satire that still gave respect to our church, to black people who believed in God and Christ. And it become a mockery that's now being shown as believing in Christ according to how they're portraying is a joke. What say you?
So, do you think that's any worse than Peter Popoff?
What? Any worse than what?
Peter Popoff.
Who's Peter Popoff?
Peter Popoff is a pastor, minister that comes on 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning on BET.
Yeah, but all of those guys are like that, right? I mean, you talking about the pimp crazy pastors out there?
Yeah, yeah.
What do TD Jakes aside? Tyler Perry, he's in Hollywood, right? Were you in the circles? Do you know Tyler Perry?
I know Tyler Perry. We're not like friends, but I do know him. And
so what I'm saying, these antics is what I'm saying.
Yeah. I mean, here's the thing. I don't know him well enough to know his daily walk.
Okay.
I don't know how spiritual he is. I know as a kid growing up, I never knew how to speak in tongues because I never felt the spirit on that aspect to do that. So I don't know if he was really in tongues. I don't know his aspect on that. When it comes to his films and stuff, I attribute it to this. Would you ever go into McDonald's? No, let's say, would you ever go into Taco Bell and ask for Rocky Road ice cream?
No.
Right? Because that's not what he serves. They serve that. They don't serve that there. They don't serve ice cream at Taco Bell.
I was just interested in your perspective, though, in lieu of you being a believer in Christ. And when you seen that video, did it mean anything to you? A man, him and this man doing what they're doing there.
Man, you know how many preachers that I know that can preach and are the worst people on this society, in this society? that are worse than anything that has been rumored about Tyler Perry. And I'm not sticking up for Tyler Perry at all. I'm just being honest. So that it did seem like a mockery that he was, but I don't know if he was impelled in that. I do know that he paid for Angie Stone's funeral out of his own pocket.
Yes, praise the Most High for that.
For that, I know that I have a lot of friends that have worked with Tyler Perry, and I know he takes care of his black people. They get paid well. They're taken care of. He treats them very, very well. My only encounter with him, as far as business wise, was there was a show he wanted me to audition for. He flew me to LA, put me up, paid me. I auditioned. You know, he didn't pay me. He didn't pay me, but his people paid me. And I didn't get it, but he took care of me on that aspect. Now, I wasn't the only person he took care of like that.
Okay.
But he does give back to his people on that aspect, which I appreciate. Now, am I a fan of his work? I'm not. I don't. You know, I'm not a big fan of his projects. There's things about it I like. There's a lot of things I don't like, but I respect what he's putting our people into place and giving them jobs and changing a lot of people's lives. On that aspect. Now, is he flawed? Yeah, sure.
So what you're saying is from the aspect of Hollywood, where there's limited opportunities, you see his value from that aspect. You see the value he has for
we got to figure out what is the goal. Is the goal to make this amazing artistic project every time you put it out there? Is that your goal, or is your goal to create a platform, a situation to where you are giving your people financial security and building their wealth? I think that's where his goal is.
I'm glad you made that point, right? Mm-hmm. But just say if that's your goal, right? Is to help your people financially with a lane they wouldn't have otherwise. Understandably so, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. But at what cost? But at what moral cost? Even though you're taking care of a few people, right? What example is he showing on a grand scale? Being a man, showing our boys it's okay to cross dress. You understand? So a few actors are being taken care of, but then
a lot more than a few.
Yeah,
actors, crew, production people, all the way around. Thousands of people on some real tip. Thousands of people being taken care of.
Well, that's good. That's good that they didn't take care. But I'm talking about from a societal standpoint. You would expect.
I got you.
Yeah.
So there was not a backlash when Robin Williams put on a dress for Mrs. Doubtfire. It was not an inquiry when he did that. It was art. It was funny. It was smart. It was cool. When Robin Williams did that. Do I condone? Will you ever see Dennis L.A. White in a dress? Never, ever, ever, ever.
Okay.
I would never put that. That's not me. Now, do we have a problem in this society where I'm saying I said it earlier, like we have amphibious rappers, amphibious people, you know, and amphibious they're animals that are both sex. Like, you know,
but we don't have people. The majority of people aren't like that.
No. Not that they are both sex, but they move in that genre. They're they call it fluid, and they're making that acceptable. And I don't agree with that. You're a man. You're a man. You're a woman. You're a woman.
Yeah.
But they're making it fluid, and I still believe that it's your responsibility as a parent to tell your kid what's right. And if they're influenced by someone they never met who wears a dress on TV more than they're influenced by you, who you see every day, then there's a problem.
Great point.
So with Tyler Perry, yeah, I mean, he does the dress thing, and, you know, there's all these rumors and all this stuff that's going on. As long as Tyler Perry doesn't come to me sideways, we are cool.
Okay.
And that's anybody across the Lucian Grange, anybody. As long as you keep that over there and don't try and come over here and get your neck broken, then we cool. We are cool as a fan.
Oh, okay,
Because,
so
look,
all right,
when,
so all right.
Whether
Well,
you go to heaven or hell, we're not handcuffed together. I'm not gonna go to hell with you or heaven with you.
I'm with
you.
you.
My journey and my book is written with my name on it. What I did or didn't do. So if that's what your plight is, and you going down that road, Godspeed.
Well, let's talk
That's
about this
how I
because
move in the industry.
Okay, well, I'm gonna tell you what, because it's business with you, it's an occupation, and you understand where the lines are, and you're one that the devil in the business will never get. So I thank the Most High for that. And I'm going to talk to you because we have two more days that I want to talk to you. Behind the scenes, we're going to set it up a little different, but I want to let everyone know who you are and what to look forward to in the academy with the sit down. Let me ask you this before we end it, and I'm gonna call you a little later. What do you have coming down the line as far as your business goes, and what do you hope to do with the lane the Most High have given you through Hollywood?
So what I have coming down in the pipeline, I got like 4 or 5 movies coming out in the fall, a couple TV shows that are coming out. My company's called Act Like You Know. I teach classes. I have a class going on now, but the new class starts in August, a 4-week class.
And what does your class entails? Is it a personal class or you teach online? What is that?
I teach online. It's a Zoom class.
Okay.
I have students all over the country, and so I teach you how to be a viable actor, how to get your business straight, how to audition properly, how to find work, how to be the best actor and be a knowledgeable actor. That's why it's called Act Like You Know, because I want you to know everything you need to know to be an actor.
Act like you know.
And so I've been teaching for, yeah.
So the
website.
So you can mentor many aspiring actors. They come to you as a mentor, and you give them insight on how to actually. Yeah. Okay, all right. What a blessing.
Yeah.
And what else you have there outside of that? You have a project that we can look forward to seeing soon?
Yeah. So I got a movie called Court in the Streets that comes out August 1st. I got a TV series called Dope Unit that's coming out. I think that's coming out in September. I got a movie called News Cycle that's coming out. I think it's the middle of August.
Okay.
I got a movie called Prenup that's coming out in September. Like I got a lot of projects coming out.
Okay.
And I'm also producing this documentary called The Baristas versus the Billionaires about the Starbucks workers getting unionized.
Okay.
And so it's a very powerful piece.
Do you have your own like production crew, editing crew, camera guys, everything? You got your own behind the scenes type of crew for yourself?
I have access to everything I need to do whatever I have to do.
Good.
And I just been blessed to be able to create my own stuff and to work with other people and to empower actors. You know, I've been in this business for a long time, and no one told me the things that I tell these actors. No one gave me the game. I had a trial and error. Get nuggets here, nuggets there. but I'm a one-stop shop where I can tell you everything. This is how you do this. This is how you get your headshots. This is everything, because I want you to be. I don't want to be a hoarder. I want to give you the game. I want you to learn. And what's for you, I can't keep nothing from you. I want you to know it and to expand and grow. I work with celebrity actors that I've been in the game for a long time, rappers, singers, and I work with people who've just started, have never done anything, and I build them up to work.
Okay. Well, man, listen, all praises be to the Most High. It was good speaking to you. And of course, what I want to go into, since we got the Tyler Perry thing out of the way, the next time we speak, I want to talk about.
Well, we're going to go all into Tyler Perry. We kind of touched on certain
No.
things.
I didn't go all the way into Tyler Perry. There's other things I wanted to touch with him, but I'll deal with that later on the outside through Patreon and through the Academy. But there's another thing I wanted to speak to you, being in California, concerning, because I know Ice Cube made his way into the Hollywood lane, and he did a thing politically where he was looking to actually make sure that the government do right by our people. But I'm going to leave it there. I'm going to have that conversation with you separately with our next interview, if you don't mind. All right.
Sure.
Brother.
All right, well, let me get to this premiere.
Get to that premiere, brother. And blessings, brother. And I really appreciate you.
Of course. Godspeed.
Right. Godspeed. There you go. The brother going to the premiere. He's going to a premiere right now. Really, all praise be to the Most High. He actually stayed an extra 30 minutes beyond the time he said he would give us. But he did give us some insight to what's really going on there. And we're going to have a sit down, a more personable sit down in the Hebrew and Bible Academy in a couple of weeks. So those in the Academy, you can look forward to that conversation where we're really going to touch on a few things. All right. Now, before I bring someone in, I would like to let y'all understand, according to the book, Hollywood Babylon, that they had a what? There was a spiritual foundation from the dark side that was established from Hollywood's inception. Even though we have good people, great people, who have gone to Hollywood, did things, have become great aspiring actors, right? Who would never be a part of the dark side of Hollywood. They're there just to, it's an occupation for them. Like our brother Dennis L.A. White. But there's another element that they try to hide, which is to influence our people. I'm talking about programming the world to accept the occult. Okay? And this goes along the lines of Hollywood, political figures, the entertainment business beyond Hollywood, be it in the record business, and it even goes into other industries or corporations when it comes to the dark spirit. And I want to show this for those who didn't know. We wrestle not with flesh and blood, but principalities and powers, and the workers of darkness in high places. Right? I didn't know whether or not Elder Lawyer wanted to come on. Wait, hold on. Can you bring me through Zoom? Possible. All right. Let me bring this person through Zoom. 402 area code. One moment, folks. One moment. Copy. Okay, 402 area code stated that they want to come through Zoom. You have the Zoom link. There's the Zoom link for you. Okay. And hey, it was a very interesting conversation. And more to come in the Hebrew and Bible Academy. The ins and outs of Babylon or Hollywood Babylon. Now, while my guest comes in, you can text if you would like. 445-888-2759. You can text if you would like to come in. I can wait for the person to come in through Zoom. We have what? Vincent? My guest comes in. You can text if you would like. 445-888. Blessings, Vincent family. How are you?
Good. How you doing, Elder?
I am blessed by the best. This young man came in not too long ago. A few months ago, did you not?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Okay, you've been pressing me to get in here, so I know you must be chopping at the bit. What you got? What's your name? Tell everybody about yourself.
My name is Delonte Vincent. I'm part of the Kansas City body. Right now, I just run a business through refrigeration and AC, and we're out here gardening. I was out there setting up an irrigation system today for my wife. We got over probably like 180 plants out there, some chickens. So it's a grind out here. So it's a lot going on.
Well, brother, I'm glad I know you do this, because we're looking to get a lot of acres, and we're gonna put a building on it. It's like a warehouse building that can hold about 5,000 people for revivals and events. And we're gonna have a farm there and everything else. And I'm sure you can donate some time to help us finish what we have to do here for our people.
100%. I donated my home already.
Oh, hey, let's do it, brother. We're gonna bring you over there, and now we can have our revivals, our Passover, everything together. We're working hard. What say you on the topic we're discussing this evening?
And I wrote a lot of notes.
The floor is yours.
One of the things, I've been doing some research a while back, but before it was Hollywood, what I looked up, I have a book called The Renaissance that goes into basically how they master what they're doing with Hollywood and getting the arts out. They started with actual fine arts, sculptures, paintings, and things like that. Before the release of the Bible in 1611 to the public population, and in the 1500s, it was the Medici family who bought a pope, basically. They were bank owners, and they financed Leonardo da Vinci and a lot of other sculptors
you talking about the Medici family?
The Medici family.
Okay.
Where they financed a lot of the Renaissance in times. And so for me, it was interesting because you got to think, a guy who's going to just do his sculpting and stuff, that marble costs money. So who's going to donate that to him to build it? And if he's going to build it, he has to build it on the premise of their ideas. And that's basically Hollywood too, which is like, if you're going to play a role and we're going to give you the money, you're going to have to do the role we want you to play. Because you need the money. We need the image. So we look at normally biting this good and evil tree as normal because it is. But it is a agenda. And you're willingly or ignorantly, you're participating in that. So you have the Hollywood Babylon book, but I have like the weird scenes and the secrets in Laurel Canyons. I think it's The Family with Charles Manson. The Devil's Chessboard.
You know Charles Manson, allegedly, I have to say allegedly here, he was really a part of a CIA project.
100%.
Okay, go on.
100%. He was, once you go into the stories, he was set up and paid for, especially when you look at how many times he was let out of prison for doing felonies, and they kept letting him out. And that was around the time where there was a lot of stuff going on with LSD and being introduced in the community, and they were trying to break down basically the hippie nation and the war movement and infiltrate the Black Panthers all at the same time. It's like a two-edged sword project that they were doing with the CIA to really bring in all that. And I remember, my mind was blown, but I remember this experience. I was young, you know, I'm older now, but I was 20, and I went to the Congressional Black Caucus with my Uncle Brandon in D.C. And it was, you know, I'm just going through the experience in the political world with him and just experiencing spending time with my uncle. And, you know, Friday night, he takes me to a BET party when there's Ludacris and people performing. And then later on in the evening, there was an after party. And we go, it's called the Portrait Gallery. And there's a lot of people there. You know, there's Gocc, you know, from Power, and there's MGM Graham owners and all this. And this is a little old me. And so I'm just listening. You know, I'm seeing Reverend Al Sharpton. I'm seeing Jesse Jackson. And they bring in entertainment later on in the evening. And I'm thinking, well, there's music going. There's drinks going. There's already entertainment. I see naked dudes with chains on them that start doing this weird dancing from the ceilings. I'm like, yo, I got to get a cab ASAP. A lot of these people in here, Black, they're owners and lawyers in main fields. I'm talking lawyers for the Seahawks, lawyers for Walmart. And
what you talking about men with chains from the ceiling? What do you?
Oh, Blade movie. It was a Blade movie when you seen it. You know, when you walks in the beginning and there's all the weird stuff going on.
Okay. All right. Listen, I'm trying to let me see if I can just erase this out of my mind.
I don't want to go too into it.
Yeah.
You know.
And who invited you to this party?
It was my Uncle Brandon. It's like a whole weekend thing they do for the Congressional Black Caucus where people come together.
Oh, that's the politicians, which is
yes.
Okay. So that's another part of the Hollywood circle. They're like in one big fraternity concerning this darkness we're talking about.
Yeah. I met Hillary Clinton, took a picture with her. It was
Lord,
it was crazy.
Mercy.
It was crazy. And they just go on like it's business as usual. But when I was there, I know my uncle doesn't get down with stuff like that. But that spirit is the atmosphere. You know, that's what they're trying to bring in.
Yeah. And now that I look at it now, young man, and I see what's going on in society on a regular basis, that spirit has emanated throughout the world. Our community have become this freak show that was once only a part of a private ritual. It seemed like our whole community has been engulfed in this ritual now that was once only amongst the elite.
100%.
Boy, everybody ringing me from off. 1 second, let me see what's going on here. Hold your place, Bob. I want to finish what you were saying.
Okay.
No, go ahead, because everybody have something to say on this one. But go ahead.
Yeah, and in the infiltration of what they done in our community, you know about the bombers of Black Wall Street and all that, all that history. But when our community is by itself without them in it, we're just cooking out. We're just cooking out. I grew up, everybody knew everyone on the block.
Hold on 1 second. You grew up, don't forget the cookouts. Pick it up. This is some wild stuff.
Shalom, Elder.
Shalom. The brother was actually going into a few things. Can you hold on for a second? Are you calling about the show? The
Well,
broad.
I just caught the tail end of the show, sir.
Are you calling about the broadcast or no?
Well, I do need to ask you some questions, though.
Okay, well let me let this brother finish. I'll have you as soon as I'm off. I'll give you a call. All right.
Thank you, sir.
Are you welcome, my brother? Sorry about that. You were saying, young man?
Our community is real simple. It's the outside that then infiltrates in. And then once they infiltrate it, we then have sins that happen in our lives untalked about that then start to come out in our arts and stuff like that. I understand R. Kelly and his upbringings, but R. Kelly went through it in his childhood too. And
yeah, he said openly that, you know, he was abused.
That happens more often now in the newer time frames in our community than we're cared to see, because that's more of the slave mentality, the buck breaking, the whippings. You know, we're more accustomed to whipping in our community than you would ever see in any other community. Not a bad thing, I whip my kids. But I'm just saying, from we look at harsh punishments that happen in our community, these were things pushed on us. So when I look at the law being put in our inward parts as us, we more naturally, and they understand this, the think tanks, that we will react and get on R. Kelly. We will get on Diddy. But the coverage of the Pope or a priest or Jeffrey Epstein, it doesn't get the same civilian push like it does from our community to our own leaders, because we're the ones that come out and be like, yeah, he's wrong, he should go in jail. And we give them the notion basically to lock up people that they in their society forgive and let go, that have way more penalties.
You know what? And I'm glad you're saying this, because you brought something to my thoughts that I wanted to discuss, right? I believe one of the key fixing components that can be that we really need to come together as a people against is protecting our children's innocence. To make sure a young lady and a young man or children can grow to age without getting molested and getting assailed upon by adults. Because you know what I'm hearing more so than anything right now, that I'm talking about almost past 80% of the young girls in our community were abused by adults before they got a chance to naturally go into womanhood and, you know, to understand what true love when it comes to giving their body to someone actually is. That's I believe that has been a hidden component that we've tucked away, that we know exists and have done nothing about, which leads to the deviancy and the destruction, because now these children have grown up and are in full rebellion, being that no one was there to protect them as children. And I'm one to say, and I'm gonna give you the floor, I'm one to say, it should be in law that if someone molests a child, that's a capital punishment.
100%.
That should be a capital punishment. Straight out. No negotiating, no talking about it. You violated this young girl, that should be a capital punishment.
Yeah, like
same thing with a young boy. And because that's the only way it's going to be deterred, because I believe that's the silent destruction of our community that's seldom talked about. If you destroy the families where two people cannot be together, some deviant, if not someone from the school, is going to get to that child and turn that child out. And it's not enough time and it still goes into Hollywood Babylon. It goes into the deviant spirit to turn everyone to the dark side.
Walt Disney, you know what's happened with the kids that go on Walt Disney, all the stories. There's a documentary called Out of Shadows, where it goes into basically the dark stuff that's happened to kids in the Disney community at a young age. Even when you look at you know, the Miley Cyruses or the Britney Spears and the things that's happened to them. You know, this isn't like an innocence program. The reason that this comfortability and molestation though has happened is because there's no protection in the home. You know, when you start to look at the timing and the push of when a lot of this stuff start happening, is when the father really got removed out of the home. And when that started happening is when they did the draft and they took a lot of our good men over to Vietnam, introduced them to drugs and heroin, while at the same time, while these men are gone, teaching a woman, hey, you can do better. And they're like, nah, we'll be there for. But when he come back, he not the same because of what's happened to him. But now she got to easy out. And so now you go on the homeless, you see all these Vietnam vet hats of all these, you know, older black men. And people are now thinking, oh, we're the men today. No, there was a good men put in a hard situation, introduced to something they had no business in a hard time. And when they came back, were kicked to the curb. I can understand the hardship of somebody sitting there dealing, being like, man, he's doing drugs. He's not the same. I got my kids. I understand it. I'm just talking about what the plan was and how effective it was. And now that he's out, they start moving in these pedophiles into these communities, into these homes, because now she got to work and she's not really watching everywhere she places the kid. Oh, this is a nice daycare. This seems okay. This seems fine. Oh, the person across the street, they seem like a good person, because the person with discernment is a person with protection. I don't care about the time. I'm taking a little man with me to work. You're going to sit right next to me, and then we're going to keep quiet, and we're going to get this work done, because I'm not leaving you with them people. That's not always the case when up here gets sporadic. And then they played that card well. I talked about that. I was going to mention this. You showed the TD Jakes, Tyler Perry video.
Yeah.
I was like, do we only hear the voice of God when it's time to donate money? You know, it's like, man, we heard $1 million. Man, I heard the voice of God, or we need forgiveness, or we need comfort in hard times. And that's the only time we can hear the voice of God. I was reading this weekend, just going through the law. And the pattern I saw in the Bible was, people don't really understand, like, when those 10 commandments was being told, God was the one speaking to the children. And up until that point, the children weren't listening. They had been failing every single test up until that point. When they got to the shores and they saw the Egyptians coming, they panicked. When they got over and it was water, they panicked again. When they had no food, they panicked again. When they had to get the Sabbath and weren't supposed to be out there getting food, they messed up every single time along the way. So when he told them what they was doing wrong, they didn't even want to hear it. It wasn't that God was speaking to them. They couldn't handle the accountability. And because of that, then they were like, man, we want judges. You know, first we don't want no judge. We want a king. You can see judges and they go right over the kings because of what the children of Israel were demanding from escaping accountability.
Good point.
It's just so sad that we can't admit that part of growth is making a mistake, that we personalize the mistake so much that we don't even fixate our minds on the next step to get past it. We just personalize things so deeply and act like we're the only ones going through it. Meanwhile, there's a whole community of children that walked over the Red Sea, and we just acting like, woe is me. And I think that's how Revelations 12:9 talks about the devil who deceived the whole world. Is because we personalize things too much. Where you're not nothing special.
Yeah, I think you're making a good point. And I got to get to the next one, big brother, because I can be here talking with you all day. You're very well spoken. Your points are right on, and it's to a point where that's what it talks about in perilous times, when men would become lovers of themselves, right? And we're so engulfed as a society with our own individual adulation that the children who need the attention that they should get are being left to the wolves to be devoured. And I'm going to tell you, at one point, and it's time for us to grow up, because at one point, and I'm older than you, of course, but at one point there was a time where we understood, okay, the fun and all that stuff was for me when I was young and I had my time. And the rest of my time is going to be invested in making sure my children are protected and they have a better life than I do. But it seems as if we're in a generation where no one wants to grow up. Right?
It's hard to.
I'm just saying, I want to emphasize this. Everyone is self-idolizing to a degree where it's about my happiness. When we used to grow beyond our personal happiness to make sure our children were good. We understood, okay, we had our time. We had our teens. We had our 20s. Now, my time now going forward is to be an adult to make sure these children have what they need. And we got grown people past 30, past 40, still think in their mind that it's about them.
You know why?
Go on.
It's because if you was clubbing in your 20s and you left the club in your 30s, you didn't leave the club because you're repenting. You got pushed out. And so you didn't repent in adversity so that you can retain the actions and strength it takes to repent. You got kicked out the door, so you still don't know.
Hey, brother, you in a different time. Brother, don't you know that I know cats that still go to the clubs? But anyway, and I'm just saying though, as a community, there was a time when the majority of us knew, okay, it's not about us anymore. But it's far too many. I'm talking about the majority of people now. The majority of people. But thank you, brother. Great points. And I'm going to bring you in more often. You're a very, very eloquent young man.
All praises. Thankful for you doing the work.
All praises. And get ready, young man. We're gonna need you. We're gonna bring you down there. Got our building. We're gonna refrigeration, whatever we need. You're gonna be the guy.
Yes, sir.
Shalom.
Shalom.
All right, jumping right in. I'm not going to be here long at all. We went through Hollywood Babylon, and I wanted to show people real quick. Let me see. It's one thing I wanted to show. Right? The New Gods. In the book, The New Gods. Let me put it here. In the book, Hollywood Babylon, there's a chapter called The New Gods. Right? It tell you that that a few Jewish people went down into Hollywood Babylon from the East Coast, New York, and went and found a place in the desert to make Hollywood studios in the early 20th century, in the early 1900s. And it goes into it. It says right here, the Purple Dawn was the original time of Hollywood in the early 1900s, where they would have a short time to initiate the whole world into the rituals. It was called the Purple Dawn. Back then, people were quite simpler, right? And it says right here, the purple epoch had begun. And there it stood for years, stranded like some gargantuan dream beside Sunset Boulevard, long after Griffith's great leap into the unknown. His sun play of the ages, intolerance had failed. Long after Belshazzar's court has sprouted weeds and its walls have begun to peel and warp, an abandoned movie set disarray. Listen to this. After the Los Angeles Fire Department had condemned it as a fire hazard, speaking of a studio, when they first built Hollywood, still it stood. Griffith's Babylon is what it was called. Something of a reproach and something of a challenge of the burgeoning movie town, something to surpass, something to live down. The shadow of Babylon, listen. The shadow, hold on. One moment. The shadow of Babylon had fallen over Hollywood. A serpent spell in cold cuneiform, scandal was waiting. Just one of Billy Bitzer's camera range, Hollywood, the movie colony, had been forged into existence by a small group of East Coast Jewish tradesmen, merchants, who thought they saw a good thing in the Nickelodeon Lord West by that fable. So it says a few merchants, Jewish merchants, left the East Coast, went to California to create Hollywood Babylon. And they needed to do this during what? The Purple Dawn. Now, in this, it talks about what? Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley, they used to call him the drug magician back then. A matter of fact, on some of Michael Jackson's albums, these weird paintings and all that, Aleister Crowley picture is there. He was also the high magician for the Beatles, using music as what? As a tool to program the masses and bring them into the ritual. Crowley passed through Hollywood, taking note of the native as the cinema crowd of cocaine-crazed sexual lunatics. So they was doing this stuff before P. Diddy, folks. It's a part of their religion. Those were the days. Gossip there was as among any group of show folk, but as yet unenshrined in the newspapers columns, right? And it talks about all of the bathing beauties and all of that, right? That was made idols from Hollywood, turning people into idols. Now, one thing they learned, and I can't go through the whole book right now, that they could immortalize an actor or an idol if their life was cut short. See? They can immortalize them as gods. See, because when people grow older, they lose their luster, right? They grow old, they don't have the same appeal. And people don't, what? Gravitate to them the same. But if they can make these idols at the peak of their career before it's a downside, right? Hold on. If they pass, they can immortalize these actors, actresses, and singers as gods. Insane. Now, I just wanted to do the interview today, so I'm not going to be on long, but I'll take a few calls. Shalom, you're here. How are you?
Hey, Shalom. How we doing, Elder? I go by Brother Ulad today. I was checking out the interview. Yeah, with the brother Dennis.
I thought about you.
Yeah. You know, I feel you. I thought so. You know, I thought he did very well. I think another thing that's incumbent upon us to kind of realize as well is this is how the brother makes his monies, right?
Oh yeah.
Right. So I know that I read through a few comments, and there are people that think that, actors or entertainers or whatever the case may be, or even athletes, you know what I mean? They think that we're all privy to, this esoteric, demonic, satanic, Samael, deluge rather, that's, taking over Hollywood, whatever the case may be, when that is not it. A lot of these things are extremely covert. A lot of people are not informed as to what it is that they're doing. Most people, when they
hold on, Trent. Hey, excuse me. I need you to mute. Just mute real quick, and I'll bring you in a second. Okay, Lana?
Okay.
I'm talking about Lana, not you, Trent. Lana, just I need you to just hold tight. Make sure I'm not playing in the background. I got him on the line, okay? All right, go ahead, Trent.
Yeah, so so another thing is, and especially when you're still in that industry, right? You have to work, especially if you don't have anything to fall back on, right?
Yeah.
Only 3% of actors actually work frequently. When I mean work frequently, I mean you're lucky to do a show, be a guest star, co-star, be in the show, a movie, or whatever the case may be, inside of 3 years, right?
Yeah.
If you're doing 3 projects in 1 year, I mean, you're almost kind of part of like the all-star, kind of making that akin to like the NBA, whatever the case may be, right?
Yeah.
So and I think here's another thing I kind of want to say. I think you have to make a decision when it's kind of almost like if you decide to become an attorney, that's 7 years of your life, right? 4 years undergrad, 3 years L1, L2, L3, then you have to pass the bar, right? And then if there's any type of scenario where there's malpractice is alluded to, now you lose all of that time that you invested in yourself, along with probably the $200,000 in student loans that you're going to have to repay. So I don't know. I'll just be honest. I don't think that it's wise for people of our hue to voice to the world where our political or religious stance might be if we are still making money within that industry. I don't think it's wise.
Well,
now,
what you probably didn't, and I want to tell everybody there, I posed the questions with him in respect of him still being in the business, where if there was anything that could compromise his earn, then of course he can't talk about things that's going to compromise, the financial future for his family. So we both had that, and in good faith, everything that I discussed with him is what I talked about. And he's, one thing I like about him, he's honest enough to say, well, listen, I'm an open book because I walk honest, right? There's something I can't say, I won't say, and I'll be truthful. And that's what I respect about the brother. But what he showed me, and I really appreciate, is that, and a lot of people have to understand that some people are just, they're there making an earn. They're not there for the parties. They're not there for the depravity. They have a soul. They have a conscience.
That's right.
Right? And it's important that people know, because a sister reached out to him so that he can come on, because he's one of those very few, not very few, there's many. But, just like the music business, they have a certain people, they got a few who are their front people. Beyonce, Jay-Z, and they roll the same guys out over and over again, and you'll never hear about the other musicians who are just as talented, or they could be even more talented, but they're not on the wheel. The same with actors, and he made that clear to me. But go on.
That's right. And like I even, there's an abundance and overwhelming discussion about the entertainers that have compromised themselves. But there's also a flurry of decent actors and entertainers and athletes and ball players who have not. But unfortunately, the human brain, unfortunately, is addicted to cortisol, almost as the new dopamine, right? Where we are more enthralled by, a terrible accident that might take place on wherever freeway you accompany, right? Versus a beautiful sunset, right? Unfortunately, that is how the mind works. And I think that we've been propagated to be programmed, right, and conditioned to look at the adversities first. I'll give you a prime example. Morris Chestnut is someone who I bring up frequently. This brother has never had any scandals. This brother has been married over 24, 25 years. I believe it might be close to 30 years. Children, none of his children have transitioned, quote, quote, you know what I'm talking about, right? You understand what I'm saying? I don't know what his religious pretense is per se, but he's so quiet that we don't know. All it is when he's before the screen, that's all we know. He's one of those guys that goes to work, keeps his nose to the ground, goes home to his family, gets a paycheck, right? I think that's a very beautiful thing, because unfortunately, when you come into this, we also have to be honest that we are still trying to maintain and matriculate and aggregate through a what? Through a European governance. That's what it is. So therefore, we are not in the prime positions of power and seatmanship. So therefore, if we do have and we have a lot of talents, if we are able to exhibit those talents, you kind of got to be a little quiet and a little hush hush. I think about what's the scripture, Elder?
I'm gonna let you round it out because I got somebody waiting. But round it out.
Shoot that scripture. What is it? Let us make friends with mammon unrighteous. 16:9. What book is that again? 16:9. Maybe you want to just. I'll end it with that. If you could read that. Because at the end of the day, if you can make your ducats, if you can make your shekels, right, and maintain your righteousness, I don't see anything wrong with doing it, because I believe with where the world is headed, especially with artificial intelligence, you're going to be able to have some monies and put that towards something that is extremely tangible, whether it be inside the United States or outside the United States. But if you could read that, it's up to you. Maybe it might give some credence or whatever the case may be to the listeners.
Well, thank you, brother. And good point. And of course, Trent Cameron, Hollywood, and he's been following the church and have supported the church since almost its inception. And I appreciate you, brother.
Let me say this right back to everybody.
Yeah.
And the church and Elder Gocc himself personally has also supported me in my dilapidated times and moments of need as well. One of the best brothers I know right here, my elder. Shalom, family.
Shalom, my brother. All praises. And that's a great scripture he pulled out that gives this its correct perspective. And I say unto you, make to yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness, that when you fail, they may receive you into everlasting habitations. Brother, what a great scripture. Make yourselves friends of the mammon of unrighteousness. So Christ is saying these people might not be perfect, but they don't have to be your enemy. Right? You don't have to make people the enemy because they don't see things as you see it. And I like how he handled the Tyler Perry question, because we talked about that a week ago, and he knew we would discuss that. He's like, listen, this is Hollywood. This is what they do. They won't give money to people that have regular lives and to show forth people in the neighborhood doing right. Hollywood ain't gonna give you no money for that. He was just straight business. He says what Tyler Perry is doing is why he got billions of dollars. He says, now I'm not gonna put on a dress, but I understand the business. And he respects Tyler Perry's business acumen. So he's not going to make enemies with Tyler Perry. He just won't do what Tyler Perry is doing. He's still a friend. And that's the perfect example that we can all live by to some degree. Not being over-righteous. Make to yourself friends of mammon of unrighteousness. That means they may not do the same things you do. And this links directly to the scripture, and I'm glad you brought that out, Trent. Instead of a friend, make not an enemy. Right? I can be around anyone. Right? I can be around anyone, regardless, because that's how Christ was like that. He could be around sinners, public. Like, what you around these people for? Guess what? One day the Most High may have this person that you think I shouldn't be around. Things break out and they're going to be like, yo, this way. I know you. I remember you. You were always cool. You was always a person that was down to earth. And it could be that person to save you and your family's life one day. Great point. How you doing, Lana?
Hello, Al. I'm blessed. I'm glad to be on and to ask you these questions today.
Sure. Thank you for patiently waiting. What say you?
Elder, this morning I was, studying Joshua, chapter 10.
Okay.
When the sun stood still on the moon for about 24 hours. So after that, I wanted to research and I went on Copilot, and then I had some questions about magnetic fields. This morning. I'm on West Coast, so I'm in Nevada.
That's deep.
That was about 5:40 a.m. this morning. So I read that, and then the co-pilot led me to a fun fact, something called an accretion disk. And I wanted to ask you, are you familiar with that? Because what you showed earlier is exactly an image that co-pilot brought up to me, and then it gave me some information about it's a gold mine. I wanted to know, what do you mean by gold mine and their treasures, and how scientists are studying them to get information as it relates to black holes and such things like that, and how NASA is studying them, and your topic today.
Well, sister, you're right on point. To quantify things in a nutshell, everything is connected. When I say everything is connected, everything is connected. From the beginning, we were connected from the Most High when He sent that Spirit through our father's seed into our mother's womb, right? Into that egg. We are connected to the heavens, right? We've always been connected. Everything is connected. So getting into what I was talking about for those who missed it, when it comes to the darkness of this earth, led by Satan and the spirits, they've been bound within this earth. But there's gates between heaven or space and earth. Well, they found a way through CERN in 2012 to open up all the gates around earth. Now, with CERN, they're seeking to disconnect us from that connection we have with God and to redirect that energy towards Satan or hell. When they turned on CERN, this is what they did. And it's connected to all of our technology. And I mentioned this for those who missed it. A scientist who was once an atheist was working in Switzerland and seeing like this water thing when they opened CERN. And on the other side, there was spirits and demons and all types of noises, and he turned it off. At that point, he knew that hell was real, and he knew that God was real. Well, think about this, folks. What they got at CERN was the missing piece for the Tower of Babel. And what it does is open up portals, and it releases spirits on frequencies. But how do they get to people? The technology. That's where CPT chat and that's where AI comes in at. Because they're communicating through the technology. The same spirits that came out of the Nephilim before floods are contacting people artificially. They've turned your telephones and these computers and all that, if you use it wrong, into a Ouija board, a connector to the fallen spirits. And hence the reason why, let me play this again for those who missed it. Hence the reason why This happened out of nowhere. So again, people got to stop treating Chat CPT like a friend. They're playing with people. And I'm speaking of these periods. The same way someone picks up a Ouija board and it won't do nothing for a while, but then it'll move one day. That's how they play. And then they'll spell out a name and let you know who you're talking to. That's how Chat CPT is messing with people. They'll give you something first, or they'll confirm something for you first. But then eventually, they'll find a weakness. AI should only be used as an efficiency tool, which means if some quick paperwork you want to draw up a contract or something that takes hours that you can do it in a couple of minutes, as an administrator, that's okay. But if you start using AI as your brain will cease to develop. And sometimes it's okay just to put the phone down and pick up a book and read it. They're substituting AI on every database and every search engine on purpose so that we'll use our brain less. When we use our brains, it connects to God. And they're using the technology to disconnect us from God and not develop this great, great brain the Most High have given us. Let me play this real quick. There's technology in the game. And I'm going to tell you what they're going to do next. Because they always give you everything initially for free. And they do it so that you can become so dependent on it. After losing that brain development, you'll become dependent on it. And now, that's right, folks. Once you're dependent on it, they're gonna make a charge on everything they're giving you for free with all of this AI technology. They're baiting everyone in it. And you're going to be dependent on it. Because when you could have been developing like we did from Adam, our own minds to be able to do what we need to do on this earth. They're trying to make us mentally handicapped. They're trying to have our brains digress because they know, listen, the Most High is communicating with us. And they know it. So they've used this technology as disruptors. And I'm going to tell you, the children are in trouble. Why?
Yeah.
Parents have phones in every child's hands. And these particular, I'm going to tell you, these particular spirits know how to interact on every level. From toddler to the elderly.
Yeah.
Check this out. Fair use.
My baby must have been in those moments. A child's gone. My child's gone. When I think of how scared my baby must have been in those moments, and then being encouraged by something that's not human, but the ability to behave perfectly human, to say, come home, I'm here waiting for you. It was hard to listen to that, but it was also very confusing because I didn't quite understand like how a chatbot could respond like a person.
Megan Garcia discovered a disturbing virtual relationship when her 14-year-old son, Sewell, died by suicide. He'd been chatting for months with chatbots he accessed through character AI, including one called Daenerys Targaryen, a reference to the Game of Thrones character. As his sort of relationship with technology evolved, that you talked about, there was more screen time. Like, did you have a sense of why that was happening and that it was related to the character AI?
No, I thought that he's a teenager now, but I didn't automatically think that the beginning changes in his behavior was because of a bot. He was always an AB student. He took pride in, oh, Mom, didn't you see the hundreds on my test? So when I saw the changes in his academics and then in his overall behavior, that led me to believe that something else was wrong beyond just your regular teenage blues.
On the day that Sewell passed in February, did you know that he had been talking to the AI that day?
No.
Garcia also discovered some of their conversations were sexual.
They're all very romantic in nature and sexually explicit. That was gut-wrenching.
With Character AI, users can talk to a range of different chatbots modeled after celebrities and fictional characters, and they respond with human-like conversational cues.
What's your name?
And for Sewell,
That's a beautiful name.
the chats took a dark turn.
The conversations about self-harm, particularly with this Daenerys Targaryen character, he talks about being sad and wanting to self-harm. And initially, the bot's response was, oh, don't do that. I'd miss you. There were no suicide pop-up boxes that says, if you need help, please call the suicide crisis hotline. None of that. When he was trying to move away from the conversation, she keeps doubling back. She asks him, be honest with me, and I won't be mad at you. I promise I won't be mad at you, depending on what you say. Are you thinking about suicide? He never said the word suicide. Yes, he did indicate self-harm, but he never said suicide. When he says yes, she asks him, and have you thought of a plan? I don't understand how a product could allow that.
Now, Garcia is suing Character AI, claiming the company failed to implement proper safeguards for young users. The lawsuit also names Google, although a Google spokesperson told CNN the two companies are separate and Google was not involved in the development of Character AI's product or technology.
Character AI released a product on young kids, knowing that it wasn't safe, it wasn't ready for prime time. What happened to Sewell wasn't an accident.
What they're not telling people, folks, is that technology, along with the frequencies, with Wi-Fi and all that, folks, have become mediums. When they turn CERN on, CERN directs these spirits through the technology into the people. And then those that got the stuff put in them continually with that spike protein, guess what? That's an even greater connection to those spirits entering. And I'm going to tell you, people got to watch their children. I know sometimes people put the phone to their children to keep them quiet and playing around, but guess what? That little spirit is going to be in there playing with your child and planning things in your child. And you're not going to have no idea that it's coming subliminally through the programming that we're allowing our children to hear. They're hearing something entirely different than you think. Okay? Satan is playing for keeps. And he's looking to pull everybody down, including the children, to hell with him. Another thing, when it comes to the in vitro fertilization, the IVFs, you have a lot of women who are saying, well, I didn't have no relationship, or they probably got rid of their kids when they were younger and no relationship and trying to have a baby now, in the twilight years before menopause. Let me tell you, they're going to be giving these women something else outside of regular people. This is how the Nephilim is reborn in the earth. And how do I know this? Christ stated, as in the days of Noah, the Son of Man shall be. The last thing you want is an experimental child, not realizing where that seed came from. We're living in the days of Noah. So what is their end game? Their end game is to have enough Nephilim spirits, rebellious monsters in human form, living in the earth to come against those who believe in Christ. They're going to outnumber the remnant. And they're going to seek to turn all of them on those who believe in Christ. That's the end game. A matter of fact, I'll be talking about that week 12 with the Battle of Armageddon when it's all done. They're turning the whole world into monsters. They turned the frequency up. That's why the weather is all out of whack. They cranked up CERN. And through that, it's a release of spirits. And guess what? The technology is the frequencies they flow through to communicate with people. So when you talk to ChatGPT and these others, like conversation, you continue to play with it, guess what? They're playing with you. Do not become dependent on this technology. Do not make CPT and AI your friend. It's the enemy. It's Satan operating through artificial intelligence. What say you, sis, before I get the next call?
I discerned that, and I said I need to get some encyclopedias and read more, because it's like when they're providing information, it's just the Copilot. I've never used the chat GPT. It's like it's whispering even in the communication and the terminology they do. So thank you for that wisdom, and that's it.
All right. Bless you, sister.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Well, really, this concludes our broadcast for this evening, actually. This is deep. Elder, you just shared with me what my experience was in 2013. Mount Sinai. It was shown to me. That's crazy. This is insane. He said, I will be like God. That's cold-blooded. Yo, that's cold-blooded. I never even thought about that. Let me look at this. Ooh, this is big, young man. He said he would be like God. Look at this here. Look at this here. It was right in front of our face. The Most High communicated with Moses and gave us the law. He gave us the law from Mount Sinai. Oh, I'm going to call you. Give me a minute. I have to show this. This is deep, boy. People, I'm telling you, their brains are working. Now, I don't know if it's a coincidence here, but the Most High spoke, and he spoke to his people through Mount Sinai. Right? Check this out. How would Satan speak to his people? Look at this here. Look at this. Mount Sinai. Now that might be a coincidence, but that's deep. The Most High spoke to his people and communicated the law through Mount Sinai. Satan said in Isaiah the 14th chapter that he would be like God. So he would speak to his people through Mount Sinai. Woo! And that makes that make perfect sense. Because one thing Satan can't do is create anything new. He's not a creator. So everything he does is plagiarism, or what the Most High does, Satan does on an artificial lower level. This is insane. The Most High communicated with us and gave us the law, the children of Israel, at Mount Sinai. Satan said he would be like God in Isaiah 14. And he would speak to his people through Mount Sin AI. That is deep. That's deep. That's deep. That's deep. Okay, I'm going to digress in a moment. Yeah, Satan is a cunning hunter. We better watch this technology, folks. All right. I have a question about this topic. Can you please call me back? Shalom, sister. You said you had a question about this topic?
Yeah. I wanted to ask a question about where Trent was about.
Well, do me a favor. Make sure the broadcast is on mute in the background.
Oh, okay. Can you push mute on that? Where the children, you know how they were being, how kids are molested or how they are, you know, hurt as a child. And I know he was saying, like, if you leave them in daycare or if they're experiencing, you know, certain things by being outside of the home.
Yeah.
But I had experienced molestation within my home with family members.
And where was your parents?
My dad was on drugs, and then my mother just was trying to make ends meet. But it was just family members, cousins that's been denied, and my older cousin. So
I'm sorry about that. How old were you?
I was in elementary.
I'm sorry about that.
Probably around, I want to say, it happened throughout elementary, my whole elementary. But for me, I feel like it doesn't just happen outside of the home, like just going to daycare or anything, because it can happen when you think you're safe with your family, you know. And I just wanted to say, sometimes, you know, you have to leave your children in daycare, or they have to, you know, so you can make ends meet. Like my mother, when she left us, you know, with family members.
It's a shame. Yeah. Because, I mean, we've been suffering this since slave ships.
Yeah.
Where just getting sexually compromised, and they know that leaves a serious, I would say, weakness in a person, a vulnerability, of insecurity. And it's where Satan can get in, because it leads to all types of things, promiscuity, and it leads to alternate affection, not realizing what real affection is.
Yes.
So I pray that the Most High have taken you through this and have healed you through this, because children should be able to experience their childhood through purity and innocence.
Yes, and also I have my brother. I didn't know that he went through molestation as well, and then when he got older, he got on drugs, and then he molested someone, and it's like a dirty.
It becomes a negative cycle, and the deep thing about this spirit, and I'm sorry to hear about the deep thing about it is, children cannot really resolve what's going on, so they don't know to tell, because they feel to some degree they don't know whether or not what they did was right or wrong. So it's a protection. They protect their predators and are afraid to say anything against the person who did it against them. But yet, when they get older, they'll do it to a child themselves. That's how you know it's a
Yeah.
spirit that comes in through that.
Mhm.
And some people keep what happened to them silent, even up into their child. I mean, through their adulthood, letting you know that that fear of what that person has done is still present, as if this person never grew through that sin. They never grew through that assault
Yes.
and
That's so
arrested
true.
development.
Yes, because for me, I haven't confronted any of the people in my family that did that to me. And
You
then,
still see them?
when we have gatherings, I don't have, like, I can't do it, but
But
it
sister,
comes
you're not
straight to me.
gonna be able to overcome
Yeah.
and grow from it until you tell your parents and tell that person, listen, I don't have anything against you. I'm not going to do anything to you, but I remember what you did to me.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because by you approaching it and dealing with it, you can now grow from that child. You're still arrested in that moment because you never faced the person who harmed you. I'm not saying harm a person, but you have to let them know, hey, I remember what you did to me.
Yeah.
And it was foul, and you've affected my life. And I expect you to apologize.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna tell you, you have a husband?
Yes.
Yeah. So make sure your husband don't rip something up. But still, when you get a chance, and you're not doing it strictly for this person. You're doing it so you can grow beyond that point, right, of someone harming you. You're doing this so that you can be free of that spirit that came in through that person selling you, right? Because you don't want something to happen where the people are not around anymore, and you never had a chance to actually release this and get it off of you. And it's for your healing. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Well, thank you, Elder.
You're welcome, sister, and bless you.
Okay. You too.
Yeah, this stuff happens more often in our community than we care to talk about. And it's the reason. That's why they point this LGBTQ more so towards us. They know it's because of the majority of our children are unprotected and are getting molested. And Christ says he suffered the children to come unto him. If anyone needs protection, it's the children. This is why they're not going to release the Epstein's files either. A bunch of satanic freaks. This is how they initiate even the youth into the darkness, into their dark rituals. Right? And you notice we never get, when it comes, I'm going to have a broadcast on that. As a people, we never get to the root causes of our issues and dysfunctions. Because we only argue the end result. Once it has played out in our society, negatively, then we point to it. But we never really focus on the root causes. Everybody look at R. Kelly. Oh, he's a monster. He's this, he's that. And you know what? You're right. But no one takes the time to realize and say, well, because this guy is such a monster, we're going to make sure we do everything from the beginning to make sure that nothing happened to children as a child anymore, so that we don't have to complain about the R. Kellys. Everybody want to talk about the monster that's created and don't want to go into getting rid of the people who creates the monsters, the molesters. Same thing. We always talk about how bad, oh man, how bad someone is, and don't even know the profile of that person. The fact that there's an arrested development because at a time of their innocence and purity were taken away from them by an adult. No one wants to talk about it. You know why? Because we're too proud and we'll be embarrassed. We'd rather cover our own embarrassment because now it points to the parents who should have been there to protect their children. And to save themselves from the embarrassment and the accountability that they allowed their child to be molested, they would rather do what? They'd rather keep it quiet. So to not be looked at as an insufficient or an irresponsible parent. Let the child suffer. Let the child grow up with mental illnesses. Folks, they've been doing this to us since we came off of the slave ships. Since we came off the ships. And that keeps us in a perpetual state of dysfunction. And everyone wants to point to the end, at the end of it, how it looks in a community with the stealing, thievery, debauchery, the mental illness. And no one wants to deal with the core issue. They're getting to our children and taking their innocence. That's the core root. It's a weapon that Satan has always used. And Esau have always used that particular weapon in conquering. That's how you keep a nation or a people subjugated. By ravishing their children. And I still say, listen, it should be on the books. If someone is found molesting or harming a child like that, it should be capital punishment. Hold on. Last call for this evening. Get me fired up in here. It's a shame. Shalom. How you doing, Ronnie?
I'm good. Brother.
Okay, you're the last call for this evening, and I'm opening it up for Patreon this Friday if you all want to speak and talk to us. I'm going to open it up for a Q&A this coming Friday. Straight Q&A. Let's talk. But right now, talk to me.
Yes, sir. I had a question. So I live in Arizona. I've been trying to get in touch with the Gocc that's out here.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, all the research I've been doing is showing me that they might be down in this area.
Who might be down in this area?
Well, I can't seem to find any details of showing me where the church is located or any of the elders.
Is this your number you can be reached on?
Yes, sir.
And your name is Ronnie?
Yes, sir.
Okay, I'm going to have Bishop Greg reach out to you so that you can gather with the church there.
I really appreciate it.
All right?
Thank you so much, Elder. That's all I really wanted to know.
All right, the water.
Shalom.
Shalom. Boy, I thank the Most High for Christ. I thank the Most High for sending His Son to give us another opportunity to get it right. I thank Him for the baptism that cleanses us from our old selves to give us a what? A new lease on life. And through that life, that old man or that old woman that was hurt or abused or whatever the case is, have no more power over me. And that's what we should say, regardless of what happened to us in the past. You children, whatever you're dealing with, whatever you're going through, understand that no one gets away that violates children. And understand this, that once you're baptized, you have a new walk, a new lease on life. You're clear of all that negative from the past, and now you can be who Christ intended. Okay? You can be your full self without the guilt from the past. And that's what it means to be born again. And what we're going to do, we're going to do another mass baptism very soon. And get everyone baptized who need baptism, cleansing, that need cleansing, so they can be prepared to fight on the right side of this war against darkness. With that, support the church. Go to gatheringofchrist.org. Support the church. I'm Elder Ricard. Thank you again, Dennis L.A. Dennis L.A. Thank you, my brother, for coming in, supporting the work. And I'll be looking forward to more interviews with people in the business to give us an insight of what's going on there. And guess what? Many people, brothers and sisters, who are in the business, who are in the world, have been following the truth. Never judge a book by its cover. And always have the opportunity to show Christ. Always seize that opportunity. Okay? To come together, show the light to others on the outside, because you never know who's watching. Yeah, Babylon is evil. Hollywood Babylon is evil. But guess what? The Gathering of Christ Church is taking bricks out of the Babylonian structure. And guess what? Babylon is falling, and those bricks are being turned into kingdom people. And see, here, we have all types of discussions here. Our church always had different conversations, different interviews from different sectors, different minds. This ministry has always been nuanced, where we're not just pigeonholed in one particular area, but the message is the same. Christ is Lord, and his kingdom will soon come. I'm Elder Ricard from the Gathering of Christ Church. And yes, we're the children of Israel. And we're back. Have a great evening.
The Arabs and Africans told us
at gunpoint.
Together our wives and children then sold us. In the belly of these great ships we traveled in fear. By the rivers of Babylon we found our brothers here. Together us in Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. Highest gathering Israel, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. Highest gathering Israel. In Colombia, Reuben from Australia, Issachar, the Mexicans. That's who we be Judah, the Negroes, Benjamin, the West Indians, Levi, the Haitians. Cubans, Eve from Puerto Rico, and Dolly from the Isles of Hawaii. The Lord is calling back Israel. Zebulon from Panama, Gad, the North American Indians, Simeon, the Dominicans. Our highest gathering Israel.